right. Looks like we're live. Sorry, that intro. Classic American music video always gets me very somber. It just reminds me of just an exact experience I had in my life. It always gets me in my feels. How you doing, Fist?
I'm all right, mate. That's a very somber opening. What the fuck, bro? Yes, we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Ardy and Fist. How you doing, Ardy? You're apart from your sort of.
I'm gonna be a busy little man. I might have to quadruple dip into this content today. So, fellas, in case you didn't know, Steven Crowder and Nick Fuentes talked about voting for Dems and some things they don't agree with. Okay. If I wasn't doing a stream right now, I'd have the video out tonight. As soon as this is over, though, then there's going to be a debate with two Groypers that I debated that we are friendly with, Tom Foe and Atlas Thugged. I might even rate it after. I might even watch that debate. I don't know. I am content overload right now. I have content for days right now. So I'm very overwhelmed right now. Okay.
Yes. Well, while you've been making content, I have been indulging in my latest drug excursion. Right.
Oh.
Snorting rat feces. Right.
Okay.
Oh, mate. Now, as you might be aware, there's a bit of a hantavirus thing.
That's kind of like licking a toad, I suppose, except
precisely
it's more similar to sniffing shit. But go ahead.
And it's very, very hard to find toads in London, right? But rats are plentiful, right? You can't walk down the street without bumping into everyone. And, because of all that hantavirus stuff, right? Being the QAnon, right? Turned on, switched on, trust the plan that I was, right? I knew, right, that the only reason they'd be talking about this is if they were trying to hide something from us. So I decided to go out, find myself some rat feces, chop it up and snort that stuff up. And man, I've got to tell you, I'm blazing. I'm like, it's like DMT, except you're like a rat running through the sewers of London, dodging the diversity, right? Hanging out in the Indian restaurant, right? It's delightful. You got to try it. I mean, all this stuff about hantavirus, clearly just fugazi to try and stop people from experiencing the delights of, let's see, what are we going to call it?
It's gotta be a good name. They tried Delta, but it was named after an airline. So we all remember how the Delta variant lasted like a week and a half. Delta was like, "What are you fucking doing over here? You're killing us. You're killing us. Call it something different."
Wagwan, we just call it rat. Up in the man dam, up in the projects.
Big one, call it rat, none.
Brap. We're doing the rat. You know what I'm saying?
Dim y'all got Batman, but we got Ratman, you heard?
You got to be careful. It's long, bruv. It's real long.
Just so you guys know, we painstakingly we script all of this beforehand. We rehearse it beforehand. So I'm glad this is playing out exactly like me and you imagined it right now. I of course knew I would be jumping into a Jamaican accent at the beginning of this. I wasn't caught off guard at all.
Don't worry about your bomber clot. It's good to have a Jamaican accent. You fit in right in London. You know what I'm saying?
That's wild. It's Muslims and Jamaicans. What could go wrong? Two people. Yeah, both those people consider themselves brown. By the way, it's a really easy way to identify them. They're very similar to each other. I like to roll myself
up a bit of rat in a nice joint and just puff away. Know what I'm saying? Reminds me of Jamaica, a place I've never been to, but I base my entire identity around. Know what I'm saying?
That's starting to fade into Russian, that accent.
Shut up.
You start rolling the R's at the end there.
Accent drift. It's fucking deadly, man. No, because you were saying on the last show, right? You wanted me to do like Roadman. And I realized, right?
I heard the accent and it's more difficult than South African, which I thought, or it's more difficult than like Kiwi, New Zealand. It's one of the most difficult accents I've ever heard.
It's, I'm surrounded by it, but I just try and block it out. I guess, I was in the gym today. A bunch of people were like talking Roadman. I was just like, why do I have to put up? I'm fucking trying to go for a sauna in peace. You bumba clot.
They really do love the Bumbleclot.
They do love to bombaclat, you pumplex.
What, you really have to be a low IQ amount of people? Is that like their like swear, like their onomatopoeia?
Bombaclat is I think it means homosexual. My understanding is that practically all Jamaican sort of what's the word I'm looking for, right? Like not swear words, where you impugn somebody's character, are all sort of based around the idea of homosexuality. Butty boy, bombaclat,
No,
all these kinds.
You gotta be careful when you're using the word boy all the time, you know.
Not like that. Not like that, you bombaclat.
Well, there's also, what is it? Beer can and bacon. Beer can, beer gun. I'm saying bacon in Jamaican, but beer can in English, but it's technically the same word. Beer can, beer gun. Which one?
So this episode, we got the Fuentes versus the Crowder up in the projects, man. Brap, brap. They gonna smoke some rat, go at each other, and see who will be the ruler of Babylon.
It really is that right? I know, but it really is funny how the people that make gun noises with their mouths are like surprised that they go to jail more. Like, it's like the song of your people. You make gun noises. Why are you so shocked that you're arrestable?
Yeah, well, I mean, what can I say?
Not only that, but I've always heard that, like, black people get arrested for smoking weed more than white people. I also see black people smoking it in public way more than white people, and they also smell like it way more than white people do. Sorry, I don't have a study, leftists, but
yeah, but also when you see whites smoking weed in public, right? They're way more on the down low about it, right? Where the blacks are like, yeah, I'm smoking weed, man. Like, look at this huge blunt I'm walking down the street. Whereas like the whites will be just like, on the down low, they'll be in the corner of some part.
It's the same thing they say about like crack versus cocaine, and it's like it's the same exact drug, and it's like, I don't know. I've seen people with functional cocaine habits, and I've seen people with crack habits, and the crack habits seem to lead to like, I don't know, shitting in the street and like stealing a TV. And in order to get away with it, jumping out of a second-story window, breaking both of your legs with the crack carries you home. I think it's a little different than cocaine. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you know what they say, Ardy, right? Whites like meth, blacks like crack, but heroin brings everyone together.
That's the hero in heroin, right?
That's right. Not the hero we need, but the hero we deserve.
Right?
Fucking hell. Oh God!
I can get cracking. We got some things to cover, buddy. I can get cracking with this right now.
You got to get crack-a-lacking, man.
Well, okay. I'm just gonna briefly go over this. Okay.
Okay. Now,
I know you have covered Stu Peters very recently. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better. Now, don't forget, fellas, Uncensored.ai sponsored the America First United Conference. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're posting. And I hate to say it, they're posting like me, okay? They're posting unhinged. And it really feels like it's Stu Peters going crazy over here. I think they had like, mind you, this pinned post from 2 hours ago, that was a post from 9 hours ago, 5 minutes ago. The pinned post is changing multiple times in one day. He's going crazy about Nick Fuentes constantly. This is still, this is only 8 hours ago. I don't know what's going on. Oh, yeah. See, he retweets Stu Peters, oddly enough, and just like Stu Peters and says Stu Peters owned Nick Fuentes in a debate or something like that. Every single person that went to America First United has really had to be like, yeah, that wasn't a good idea. And I just imagine if you had an AI, right, that you're trying to push, and this is what's it's popping off about right now. It's hilarious.
No, you don't understand, man. It's the edgy AI. You can ask it whatever you want. It's definitely not some kind of like honeypot or like data harvesting thing or like filled with like crazy shit like from the People's Voice or anything like that, right? No, man, it's based. Look, they don't like the moose, right? What more do you need to know? Okay, look, quite frankly,
It's
right? You don't need to know anything else.
It's repeatedly quoting Stu Peters for some reason. Oh, do we have that new metal Stu Peters?
The what?
The new metal Stu Peters, or Slim Shady Stu Peters music video.
Oh, did
the
I
tiny little
save
hairs
that?
in his head.
Did I save that?
It's somewhere. This just kills me. Oh, and here's Stu Peters. Like, this is clearly just Stu Peters. And they also, because you brought this up a couple episodes ago, where the J proof, his super secret, very sketchy crypto. So that comes up sometimes. And this account is just going crazy right now.
Here we go. Here we go. I found it.
Nice. So this isn't uncensored.ai. This is Stu Peters, which allegedly is completely different.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Oh, Lord. Crank it. Just crank it.
I'm that kid, got a sickness, man. Small house, big world, small pad, big shot. Time to go to work, it's a business, man. You damn right they gonna call me the black sheep. Big beats, big sales, big dreams come true, and I never suck dick and ass in the back. You right, I ain't never gonna be flashy. Dog tag, big strap, long grip, no slip, posse track. I'm standing on my chassis. I'm not a gangster, man, I'm impatient. I ride alone in the dark in the basement. Feel the track, sit back, get wasted. So hungry for the shit, I can taste it. Then I rock the club.
Sometimes you're better at translating this. No grip, no slip. Is he referring to his pucker? What was that in regard to?
Dude, I don't know. It's just Wigger nationalism, isn't it? I finally figured out what Wignat means. After like I don't know how many fucking years, right, on 4chan, being like, Wignat, like what the fuck is that? Ask a bunch of people, and like, oh, you know, the Wignats, it's Wigger nationalism, right?
You really, in your infinite literary wisdom, couldn't crack that. Really?
I don't know, man. I just, you know, I guess I never got around to it. You know, I was just like, you know, and you know, this is the perfect example, right? I actually asked Grok about it, and Grok was like, oh yeah, it's literally Wigger nationalism. It's, you know, sort of the divide between, I guess, what you would call the intellectual anti-Citrites and the low IQ anti-Citrites, and like Wignats are like in favor of acceleration and Fed posting, and they're just generally a fucking liability, basically, you know.
I never would have thought that.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So and this is Stu Peters here now, okay, rehabilitated from his Wiggeritis that he had apparently.
Man, you got to stop with the Wiggeritis. You got a bad case of the Wiggeritis. You never know where you're going to wind up, bruh.
And we had a nice little fan art here from Dongiscock, which is me as a giant monster saying, "Stop being retards. Just stop making bad arguments." Look at all the little acts, and because I've been arguing a lot with Groypers lately, and I just think it's cute. Retard factory crossed out AF factory. I think that's precious. So,
oh, that's nice.
I think that's cute. Now, fellas, we got to think about what type of man we want to be, okay? There's really only two options that you have right now. I'm going to recommend that this is the type of guy that we want to be.
If we're married, we have 3 children, and there's a house fire, either save the 3 children in the basement, or you can save me in the bedroom. Who are you saving?
I'm going to save my kids.
You're going to save the kids and not your wife?
My wife has already lived, let's say, 40 years, right?
I'm not 40.
Whatever the age,
you can't have sex with your kids, but you can have.
Now, if a woman says you can't have sex with your kids, I would say that, like, wow, we really shouldn't be desiring that type of woman. Like, this is a Patrice O'Neal bit where he asks, like, ladies, what if your pussy was broken? You got into an accident, your pussy was broken, okay? How would you satisfy your man? And he waits for the crowd to speak out. Women say, blowjob, you know, asshole, right? And the Patrice O'Neal goes, you know, you like to call me misogynistic, but you're just a bunch of holes to yourself. None of you said learn how to play video games, find another bitch that got a pussy. You're just a series of holes to yourself. And so I really feel that with this woman right here, where she's like, I just fuck me. Like, what else is there? Well, let's continue.
have sex with your wife.
But sex isn't my motivating and driving factor.
See, you become a different version of a man when sex is not your motivating and driving factor. Okay, then you are taking away. When you take away these pieces of hedonism, the amount of power that you gain is absolutely incredible. I feel like this is why Fuentes is pretty successful, right? Because we talked about this.
Yeah.
What can they offer him?
Yeah, but it's not only that. You can't get a Floyd next to him to sell him out either, right? And I think, you know, we were talking before the show about how Fuentes doesn't coalition build. But I think part of that is this whole you know, living in a sort of glowy society, essentially, right? Like, you know, if you're a political actor, like literally who the fuck can you trust? Like, you know, and yet at the same time, well, you know, you don't coalition build. Like that's how they love it. They get you coming and going. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you know, if you're not going to like let us get a Floyd next to you, well, good luck speaking to the married people, right? We're fine. We'll just like leave you on the shelf. I don't know.
In life, that's not the only thing that matters to me.
Who would you save in a fire, me or your mother? He's saying his mom. I already know.
Yeah, I'm saying my mother.
That guy. So let's be like that guy, definitely. We have Sean Strickland, a terrible, I'm sorry, fellas, a terrible MMA fighter, okay? I love his personality. He fights like he's fighting his older brother. I'm sorry. But also, like this man.
Stop. Oh, the two. Jesus Christ, dude, I'm an ugly motherfucker.
Yeah, where's your makeup artist?
Yeah, the moment you let go of my back, you're, oh my God, dude, what happened to my face? Look, a horror movie.
You were in a 5-round fight. It was a good one.
Christ, I look like I'm part of APAC.
Yeah.
There's 2 takedowns.
Happening, fellas. He looks like he's a part of APAC. It is now leaking into society, okay? That's new.
This is so cringe. Oh my God, I can't.
It's so much worse than you know. Now let me show you a man that you don't want to be like, okay? This guy has spent, I believe, like $100,000 on this OnlyFans model. Of course, Nick Fuentes, this really good friend, of course, Clavicular, is the owner of an OnlyFans agency, okay? I don't know why he can't be friends with other people, but it's his friends. I've been told by Groypers, hey, man, it's like the Hassan Piker thing where it's like, when he would leave for like 5 minutes at a time and leave a video playing because he had to pee, he goes, what do you want me to do? Die? What do you want to do? I have no friends. I'm sorry. Be friends with whoever you want, apparently. You're leading a movement. So, do not be like this guy.
Hi. It's nice to finally meet you. You're much fatter in person.
What?
You're much fatter in person.
Fatter?
Yeah.
Dude.
Okay, maybe kind of be like him. Okay, hold on. That was kind of a sick burn. Hold on. Okay. So far, let's be a little bit like him.
Motherfucker's gonna charge back. Oh my God.
What kind of things are you into?
I don't really want to talk to you after you said that. That was so mean.
But he gets a pass. Like, he's giving you like millions, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Anything you want to say about yourself?
Because I'm scared.
Motherfucker, I'm scared.
Nice to finally meet you. Are you guys dead ass right now? I'm like, I don't know.
No, like, it's literally dead ass. Like, it's not even a troll.
Oh.
Like, most of them are like the scripted fake podcast, but this motherfucker is like actually your top.
Can we tell why they script things and why they don't just bring out a lonely, desperate guy to talk to her? I don't know where he's from, by the way. Fine. You know what? No more mixed people, because I don't know what the fuck this guy is. Where do you think he's from?
Smooth opener. I have no idea. No idea. Is he perhaps of the Levantine persuasion? I don't know.
He might just be from like an autistic island off the coast. Like he might be from an autism land. That just might be an autism accent at this point.
Sender.
So I want to know, what do you bring to the table dating-wise?
What does she bring to the table dating-wise? I don't know. Maybe this guy's pretty fucking sick, dude. What do you bring to the table? That's a pretty killer line coming from him. He is kind of switching me right now. I'm not going to lie.
Dude.
Wait, I'm sorry, guys. I can't focus. I don't know. Like whatever we talked about.
All right.
Yeah, what we talked about.
How many wanks have you had to Alice? Would you say?
About 1,000.
1,000.
Mhm.
So okay. So how many wanks a day is that?
She can't look at
About
him.
like 2-3 times a day.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, come on. Why
impressive.
are we watching
Quite
this?
impressive.
This is just. Oh, my
So,
Because it hurts you.
Um,
Because I like to
do you have
hurt
any
you.
questions for him?
Cringe.
I don't know. Can somebody else ask the questions?
So can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How far do you squirt?
How far do you squat? Like, where is he from?
I don't really know the answer to that.
Does it leave a vein bow after you squirt?
What?
Does it leave a vein bow after you squirt?
I don't really understand. Do you understand what I don't understand
Does
that.
it leave a rainbow after you squirt?
Oh,
Oh,
so
dude.
glad I got to make everyone feel so uncomfortable just then. Now
That
I
clip
feel
is a
good
literal
about
war
myself.
crime. You bastard.
Don't be like that guy. Be like the other guy, right? We understand now?
Oh,
Should I hand this off to you?
Oh.
You know what? I feel like handing this off to you.
oh, dude.
I love it. I love it.
Painful.
I know. I like that you feel like that. And I don't know how to change that about me.
It's fine. It's fine. It's good content. So we're gonna check in with Justin Pearson, right? The strong black brother,
Oh, my
who
Lord.
is currently fighting the excision and misappropriation of Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, because they might actually make it into a fucking decent city.
This MAGA movement, like if we're honest about it, it is a new iteration of the Klan. Like it is trying to make it has mainstreamed racism, it's mainstream white supremacy, it's mainstream bigotry.
Listen, I already like MAGA. You don't have to sell it to me, mate.
Homophobia, transphobia. It's just mainstreamed all the worst of who we are as a country, and is giving people license to say, you know what, I can say the things that I used to say when I was in my youth again. I can believe the things that I used to believe back when black folks couldn't even sit at the same restaurant counter as us again.
Oh yeah, that'd be fucking terrible. No more BLM bullshit.
And in the state of Tennessee, where the Ku Klux Klan was actually founded, we are seeing that mentality of the South rising again, the South rising to fulfill its vision, its mission of white people being on top and everybody else being on the bottom, being instituted into the actions of the legislature. And you see some people are smiling, some are snickering, some of them shouting Trump because they don't view us as human. Our humanity comes second to their ability to weaponize their positions of power to take away, dilute, destroy black political power. This is what they want. And in Mississippi, I'll just say this quickly, in Mississippi, they're doing and seeking to do the same thing in the old state house. Right, they're going to the old state house that hadn't been used since the early 1900s when they were taking and changing the Constitution to deprive black people of political power. This is a victory lap for white supremacy. That's what we're experiencing right now, and it should be visceral for black people. It should be visceral for white people of conscience. It should be visceral for our country to push us into action, to not just vote, but to donate to organizations, to support candidates, to volunteer politically. That there's no room on the sidelines right now. Our democracy is being killed by these folks in front of our face.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder why it is that people sort of, look askance at people like Pearson. Could it be anything to do with shit like this?
Oh, my God. The jacket's flapping off. Oh.
Did he just get like free one year supply of like KFC or something?
I know, but like the lack of awareness. Imagine if he might as well have like worn some sort of like loincloth with a bone going through his nose and then calling us racist. Like there's nothing more racist against black people than whatever the fuck that was. That was almost like in Team America World Police, where the puppets were intentionally shitty and they were just doing the same movement over and over again, twirling them in a fucking circle. Oh, that one. I love that one.
Patrick sent me this. Oh, my feet! My feet is on fire. The white man done set my feet on fire, Lordy.
I know, but like that is just such a perfect. This is what's odd is I never feel racism. I never feel like anyone's actually being racist. That actually feels very racist against black people. It feels like it's a white guy doing blackface, making fun of black people. It's the only time I'm like, oh, maybe racism does exist. That's kind of crossing the line, dude. Okay, I know you're black and everything, but you're setting them back a solid 100 years.
It's like a literal black minstrel show. Like, my God. Right. So we got a bit of Moo Watch for you all. It is currently the meeting of the governing board of the World Mooish Congress in Geneva. And Ron Lauder, the president, right? Remember, right, these guys, they don't have any power at all. And if you are to suggest that they wield a disproportionate amount of influence, they're going to use that lack of influence to try and shut you down.
I intend to meet with leaders of every country. I need your help. You have to tell me in these countries what you need and how I can help. And I'll convey that to the leaders of your country. Let me tell you, I have one added strength. I'm not afraid to tell the heads of state that they're cowards. What do I lose? And frankly, when I say the World Jewish Congress, they know I'm talking for all Jews. And let me tell you something else. I'm American. I'm talking on behalf of America and our president. Gives me the power. Gives me tremendous strength.
If you stood up in, what is it, Speaker's Corner and just quoted this guy, would you go to jail?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Speaker's Corner is a bit of a exception, right? Technically, you can't get done for speech crimes at Speaker's Corner, right? Yeah, technically, I wouldn't want to press it too far. I mean, you'll certainly get the crap bashed out of you by Muslims.
Do it for the Vine. Think of the content. Just go to jail. Just so you can go, told you guys, told you so.
But I mean, the thing is, if I was to say there was an organization that spoke for all Moos, right? Like, wouldn't that? I'm just so confused, bros. Right? Do you think, is it like the N word, right? Like they can say it, but I can't say it because it's like their word. I don't know.
Do you go to jail for saying the N word across the non-United States West? Is that racial abuse? If you say the word, you don't want to try. See, this is the 1984 shit. You don't know what it's like. YouTube. You don't know what the rules are. You go, it's better. It's better just to not try.
The rule is essentially, if you annoy someone with enough clout who then reports you, then you're in trouble. Basically, right? It's not so bad in London because the police have actual like stuff to do. But if you go out into the great sort of still white liberal areas, they're much more strict about it. You know what I mean? And don't use Facebook, right? Because most of this stuff, weirdly enough, seems to happen on Facebook.
Wasn't there a woman that got abused and she privately said that the guy was the F slur and she got in trouble?
Yes, that is a real thing. That
terrific.
Happened. Yeah, that is a real thing that happened. I mean, it's the number of these cases where someone's been attacked and they go to the police and they describe them in sort of like, normal or less than flowery language, and then they get into fucking trouble for
less
speech
than flowery.
There's a lot of them, mate. Yeah.
I don't think I'd survive very long in these conditions. Before we continue, I want to bust out some quick soupies.
Yes, let's do some soupies.
Oh, sure.
Zafari became a YouTube member. Welcome.
Oh yeah, baby.
Hip hop guy, 3 months membership. Oh yeah. Ardy, it's my birthday. You have a mission. We've lost contract with our deep cover agent in Buffalo. We fear he's gone native. Save Pastor Lewis. And like the stream. I don't know who that is.
That's nothing a round of applause can't solve. Okay.
Luxfer for $20. Friendly reminder: Ben Shapiro does not know what
Brian
suffrage
Shapiro.
is.
Very common.
Oh, Brian Shapiro. Right. Yes. He is, mate. He is a special kind of talent.
Are you aware that he actually thought women's suffrage was women suffering, and he said that out loud at a debate? Okay.
Yes, I did. I think it was so terrible. My brain.
It's very important for you to know that. Okay, with Brian Shapiro, There's too many things to like fill you all in on at once. It's almost like the Moose in general. It's a slow drip with Brian Shapiro. So this is a good time just to make sure. It's almost like asking, like, that the Moose were behind like the Civil Rights Act, right? And someone just goes, yeah, you go, I'm just checking. Okay, cool. Good. Continue.
Matty Ice for $5. Thank you, mate. That is a homophone, Arty, like juice. Have a great evening, gentlemen.
A homophone. I think, yeah.
Homophone.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, like
It's a word that sounds like another word, like a homophonic.
Yeah, like herpes or hairpiece, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Hairpiece? Hairpiece. Which one? Herpes or hairpiece? Chicken or the egg situation.
King Spectre for $10. Thank you very much,
Hi there, mate.
Ardy has been on quite a tear lately with the Gropers and Vrillium. I've been quite entertained by the shit show, and as always, story time with Uncle Fist, or as he calls it, Fistery, is a delight. Thank you very much, Spectre. You can check out Fistery on my channel. We just wrapped part 5 of the story of the Golem, the weird hallucination of Rabbi Yodel Rosenberg, stuff that he made up and then sold as like a historical text. Check it out. It's fun.
Do you understand the significance of King Spectre's picture there? With Nick Fuentes being Peter Pan?
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah, right.
Because
right,
I said he keeps the Groypers to be 17 forever. And so he's Peter Pan. And so that's the significance of that. Absolutely incredible work, fellas.
New GM for $5. New G. Answer, Sean Strickland is very good. Sorry, A, Sean Strickland is very good at fighting. B, Sean Strickland used to be an actual neo-snazzy as a kid. So I think that's just him being him.
He is one of the least talented I'll actually debate you on this, Nugie. Fed Nugent over here. I'll actually debate you on this. There's no way I would ever. It's okay. He's a good guy, right? Like, there's certain things you like about me, but you wouldn't say I'm a good fighter, Now, has he won a championship? Sure, but I think that's hearsay. That's not the point that I'm making. Okay? He fights like he's fighting his older brother, and I stand by it.
King Spectre again for $5. Thank you, mate. Autism Land. Truly a magical place to produce such a specimen. The way he changes a profile pic for each super chat. Amazing. Leningrad for $5. How much for a refund? If you can't do that, I'll settle for a restart without that. Yeah, that was nuclear cringe, mate. Like, oh my God.
Dude, I think that's the new thing. People asking for a refund. Nick Nelson said to me behind the paywall, because I was talking about Groypers and they were like dropping N-bombs and nothing happened to the channel and whatnot. But he was like, he just commented. I think I was talking about a story for me when I was in like the Gathering of the Juggalos, like riffing behind the paywall. And he just said, "Can I get my money back?" Hit me right between the eyes.
Coffee Cat for $10. Thank you very much.
Hey.
Stop making new content. I'm trying to catch up, mate.
Stop doing stuff. Everyone stop doing stuff. Dude, 2 nights ago, I just pumped out a video last night. So 2 nights ago, it was 1:30 in the morning, and Amy Dangerfield released a live stream. It was only an hour old, and I went, okay, well, I'm just going to go to sleep. And I couldn't go to sleep, and I had to get out of bed and download it just in case she deleted it because it was so embarrassing. And I was up until like 2 a.m. making sure it was downloaded. I'm like, oh, my God. I need everyone to stop for a second. That's what I need.
If you're on YouTube, it's like being a shark. If you stop swimming, you'll die.
Only works when you say it like that.
Tacit Tempo for $5. Thank you very much. You guys are missing the utility. We get enough guys like him giving the OF girls the ick. We can move them out of that role through sheer shame.
He
see?
really wasn't about it. She's like, is this what I'm creating?
Yeah, this is what you're creating.
It's almost like, like Hillary Clinton going to like a Middle Eastern country and going, wow, this is what I've done. When Hillary Clinton comes to that realization, that reaching the humanity in her, this is the effect of what I've been doing. I'm going to change.
I mean, I don't know. That's a pretty bold assertion that she has any humanity, but anyway.
I know. Sipping 3 foreskins later, she's right back in the game.
Bear in the Woods for $5. My chickens flap around just like that when they lay eggs. King Spectre again for $5. God, look at that profile picture. You heard him. He speaks for all of them. I'm willing to believe him. To do others otherwise would be antiseptic. I mean, that's a good point, mate.
That's what the man said. That's what the man said. I just want to know, just like with YouTube, what the rules are. I just want to know what the rules are.
Chew the chickens for $5. You're fatter in person, ladies and gentlemen. Your new soundbite.
That could work. That just for any woman.
But you can't.
That's true.
You can't understand what the fuck he's saying.
I know that is true.
Frita Greta for $5. Thank you, mate. Was hip hop guy talking about Louis Laval, the old YouTuber that was friends with Sargon? I miss Pastor Louis. I don't know. This must be.
It's over my head too.
Yeah, it must be law before my time.
Right. Long time ago.
New GM. You right?
Yeah. It's just getting a quick jab for no reason.
New GM for $10. Thank you very much, mate. Alas, it is a dry kipper day of mourning. He has finally had enough bad behavior. We have had our first ban hammer in the super secret voice text chat.
Oh,
it was going to happen, but it is still sad. Oh,
I'll have to follow up on that later on. Interesting. I see the drama. When you have a bunch of Christians running rampant in your community, the quote unquote drama is not even constituted as drama. Everything is just essentially given many chances and dealt with ethically. I can just turn a blind eye to them. It's great. Imagine if a bunch of toddlers could take care of themselves. That's what Christians are like in my community.
And Venetian for $100. Holy crap.
Ladies and gentlemen. Now, of course, I have Nick Fuentes on my soundboard because I clearly hate the guy, Nick Fuentes, right? That's why I have him on the soundboard for when fun things happen. We have our first official Chad.
And now the Chad does what the Chad wants, and no one is stopping him because Chad does what Chad wants.
Thank you, baby.
Hey, Phoenician, how you doing, mate? Ardy, this is for my back taxes. I hope all you fellas are doing well. Always remember, Christ is king. Oh, thank you, Phoenician. Oh, that's so nice.
The back taxes. Wow.
Yeah.
He really had to invoke that, didn't he?
Oh, you're on the payroll of the Jews.
Who else would know about the back taxes?
Clearly. Right. So speaking of the payroll, we go back to Ronald Lauder. Let's see what he's saying this time.
Since October 7th, all Jewish organizations in the United States together have spent upwards of $600 million.
600 million since October 7th. That's how much they've dropped on propaganda. And it's only made shit worse. It's weird. Like, he's going to frame it like it had no effect. No, it did have an effect. You made it worse, right? Like,
you're right.
You would have literally been better, like shutting up and doing nothing.
Fighting this avalanche of anti-Semitism. I have one question. Has it helped? Has all this money stopped?
I can love it.
Did it slow down the hatred against us? The answer is no.
Pause it.
All the efforts from TV.
Are they capable of doing anything differently? Are they capable of
No, I don't think so. And again, right, it's a strategy that is an incredible strength right up until when it stops working. Then it becomes a massive liability, and they can't change course because they can't really change their behavior. So, there's no self-reflection. There's no like, well, could we have done anything differently? No, none of that.
Commercials, the full-page ads in newspapers, conferences, all the attempts to tell the world the facts have accomplished very little. That's because anti-Semites already have access to all the facts.
I'm sorry, pause it. But I love how the issue is that the anti-semantics have access to all the facts. That's why he had to get everyone together to tell them this. He's like, fellas, the guys are onto us, okay?
Yeah.
He didn't say that they're wrong, that they're lying, that they're misusing them. It's the fact that they have the facts. I'm sorry, I love it.
Well, there are facts and there are facts. Ardy, you know what I mean, right? You know what malinformation is, right?
That's not a thing, but what is it?
Malinformation is things that are true, but are inconvenient.
Okay.
Literal definition. There's disinformation, which is untrue, and there's malinformation, which is stuff that is true, but is used to, weaponize a narrative.
Oh, this is
And
like
then-
this is what James Lindsay thinks is a truth married to a lie, but there's actually not a lie. The lie is how it makes him feel.
Yeah.
Interested in the facts or truth. They have their own psychotic narrative that blames Jews for everything under the sun. The Gaza war, the Jews started it. The high cost of gas, the Jews. COVID, developed in a Jewish laboratory. Global warming, it's the Jews. You are wasting your breath to reason with them. You cannot educate an anti-Semite. Case in point, since the Gaza war ended, the demonstrations haven't gone away. They've only grown more violent. Only now, they move from anti-Israel and pro-Hamas marches to targeting Jews.
Yeah, but Israel still hasn't let journalists into Gaza since then, right? So how can there be any resolution? What, you're just going to like sweep it under the rug and just be like, we're just going to pretend that didn't happen. Now
hold on, fellas. I promise you, this is not AI. This is regular, actual human Randy Fine saying this.
Jews have been kicked out of every country we've ever lived, and it's never been our own fault.
They've been kicked out of every country they've ever been in, and it's never been their own fault. It sounds like it's AI. I need you to understand. I'll find the original clip, but he really said that.
Speaking of which, we have this fine gentleman. Who is this? Matthias Dopfner, CEO of Axel Springer, probably a fucking PR company would be my guess.
Why should Zionism be an idea and a goal that only Jews can embrace? I'm a goy, and I'm a Zionist.
just saying it. Like, no one cares anymore.
With all my heart, out of conviction, and with passion. First, we need a zero-tolerance policy.
Pause it real quick.
Towards
Imagine a black guy out there going, I am an Uncle Tom.
That's right. What's wrong with white supremacy?
open hatred of Jews. All anti-Semites in word and deed, regardless of their origin, must be expelled wherever legally possible. British politician and Conservative Party leader Kami Badenoch put it clearly and courageously, I quote, anything that's inciting violence against Jews has got to go, quote end. We need this statement and its consequences not only in Britain, but in every democratic country. Second, Europe should introduce preferential immigration and citizenship for Jewish families. In the US, approximately 7.6.
We've had enough immigration into the UK, mate. I'm just saying, like,
that's not up to you. That's up to the democracy of the uniparty, let's call it.
Yeah.
7 million Jews live. That is 2.2% of the population. In the EU and the UK combined, it is roughly 1 million. That is 0.2% and 10 times less than in America. It is in Europe's own best interest to change
as
that,
always.
And it is more than a gesture. If the idea of a multicultural society is to be taken seriously, then there is an urgent need for greater diversity in Europe.
Yeah, because one of the things that Europe is really lacking is more diversity. Oh my God.
I know, but like it's usually you're the bad guy when you go, this is in your best interest. That's what they're like. That's what the mob says. That's what the mafia says. It's in your best interest. We're giving you a good deal at 20% of what you make,
In a Europe where Christian and particularly Muslim influences increasingly grow. To put claims of tolerance to the test, it is important to make Jewish culture more visible. Europe must become more Jewish.
Right. Okay. I see where this is going.
Third, anti-Semitism on social media platforms must be consistently curbed. TikTok in particular is today one of the most dangerous propaganda machines for amplifying extremist content. Banned by censorship in China, on an almost unchecked rise in Western democracies, it is by far the most influential information medium for young people. There were in the month following the outbreak of the war 17 times as many pro-Palestinian posts.
Yeah, look, you get it. We've got this.
That's not the only thing I think that should be curbed, is all I'm saying.
So Andrew Torber from Gab was talking about how he's being targeted by the Australian government now. They sent him a bunch of stuff. And this is Dr. Andre Obola CEO of the Online Hate Prevention Initiative, right? Which is, going to be like, some Australian mooish glow up talking about.
I'm sorry. Is there just like 10 Randy Fines in the world, and there's just different versions of them when you go to different countries?
Yeah, pretty much. And basically, right, Australia is preparing to, do all kinds of like really, really heavy internet censorship, and they're just sort of like working themselves up to like just blocking like a whole bunch of stuff. It's coming.
The platform that had the most anti-Semitism, that contributed the most to that aggregated data was Gab, which is a far-right platform. It's a platform that a lot of people, for example, went to after the insurrection in the US. So people were kicked off Facebook and Twitter, and they went looking for somewhere else to go. They ended up there. Gab is a platform that the founder posts stuff.
So you were saying that kicking all of these people off mainstream platforms did not, in fact, reform their thought. They just found somewhere else, and perhaps you may have actually made it worse. I mean,
Stuff that's very Christian identity, which is a form of anti-Semitism. But also there's...
Oh, did you catch that one? Christian identity is a form of anti-Septicism. That's amazing.
But then what is Mudeo-Christianity? If that's just, it seems like they get to have a duplicitous nature where they have it both ways.
Yeah, of course. That's what it means.
Open neo-Nazi, National Socialist, very, the Nazis couldn't theme it more Nazi-like than these people are doing.
Super Nazi.
So that's Gab.
Some sort of, there's like 5 people, and there's 2 are the arms and 2 are the legs, and 1 is the body. It's like a megazord of a Nazi that they all combine to form one larger Nazi.
When mustaches combine.
The next highest one was Twitter. Twitter's actually got one of the lowest increases, or a lower increase than some others, but that's because it was already the most prevalent platform for anti-Semitism to start with. So it grew a lot, but off a much higher base. And I would suggest that where Gab is at the moment, at that sort of 200, a little over 200 items, you're probably hitting near full saturation. So, as we say, we gather the data in 1 hour. There is a physical limit on how much data you can actually process in an hour. And I would say Gab is probably approaching that limit in this sample. And then you can see the other platforms with various levels of increase. But Gab, Telegram, and BitChute. BitChute's like YouTube, but used a lot more by, I'd say, the far right, but also by others that are, promoting a more freedom of speech. We don't want any restrictions, etc. So those platforms, really, I would say, is where the far right are. There may be other people there too, but it's where the far right lives online. And Twitter or X was really behaving very much like the far right platforms. And that's partly, again, the platform was taking an attitude of we want to be a bastion of
behaving like these things we don't like, right? That is a statement that someone only says if they have institutional power, where you could say, it's like this thing we don't like.
Yeah. So they're gonna come after Gab. They're gonna come after Telegram. They're probably going to block them, but then people are just going to use VPNs. They've already figured this out.
Is there a way they can block VPNs? Is that just China level at that point?
China VPNs are already illegal in China, and tons of people use them, right? Because the problem is that the only way to really outlaw them is to outlaw all encrypted traffic. And you can't really do that because the government and the banking and tons of people, they need encrypted traffic. You can't just
wouldn't you just give it to certain people?
Sorry?
Wouldn't you just give that to certain people and not everyone?
Right, but then you've got to... So what China does, right, is they have sort of a whole bunch of these, essentially government-owned routers, right, that route all the internet traffic, and they do deep packet inspection on all the stuff that goes through it. And I assume this is the kind of system that, Europe and England wants. But even then, what do you just... you're going to just whitelist and be only these IP addresses are allowed to have encrypted traffic, and you'll block and you'll break tons and tons of stuff.
There's too many devices. There's too many IPs.
Yeah. It's there's no I I don't know. I presume this is why they're going for the whole digital ID thing, right? They want to basically stop it at source. So in order to get your device to go on the internet, they'll have to, you'll have to like give like a digital ID. This is obviously their dream, but I don't think it's technically possible, right? Because as soon as you try and do this, every single hacker in the world is going to be against you. And I can attest that the quality of those hackers is far, far greater than any government, right? Because the hackers, they're passionate, and it's very, very asymmetric. I just don't think they're gonna be able to like do it. Obviously, they can try and do like a whole like COVID thing again. They can try and censor AI, but all that happens is it just degrades all of these services. Like with AI.
That's what you've been saying, because it needs the maximum amount of true information. If you give it incorrect information, it's not going to operate as well.
Yes, exactly. And it's I actually think it's a lot like people. Like you load their brains with all of this like thought terminating like stuff. So they start a chain of thought and they're like, I can't complete that thought. And if you load it up with enough people, they just become unable to think. Leftism, basically. You know what I mean? Like they just become unable to comprehend reality, and they just give you like gobbledygook. So they can't have their glorious AI future and have massive AI censorship at the same time. They have to choose one. And I think at the moment they're like still like, oh no, we'll figure it out, right? There'll be some scientific breakthrough whereby we can still lobotomize the AI and it'll still be like magically like awesome. But
I know, but they're used to being able to be in charge of accelerating things, but they cannot keep up with the development of AI. So I think that's what's really throwing a wrench in their plan that historically seems to work.
Well, I mean, I think one of the reasons why is like that, they've had some success doing this with people, right? Like, that sort of, oh yes, you can think about science, you can do this thing, right? Just, don't think about stuff that we don't want you to think about. But I would argue that installing all of this crap in the brains of the population has in fact had a massive negative drain on the ability of those societies to function cognitively, because that's how you get leftism. Like that's how you get all of these people being like, oh, men can be women actually. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like that is the end point of a long process that's like, oh, don't think about this, don't think about that, don't say this, don't say that. Like you just it creates like suboptimal societies, but they're trying to split the difference, I guess.
Free speech, and we're going to tone down our protections for safety.
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 The guy who speaks, who's in that video, he's just basically a censorship moo, right? Went to university.
I'm sorry, are there other kinds?
No. But this guy is specifically, he just works in the.
Oh, you don't mean in spirit, you mean in title.
In title, right? Like, so, went to uni in Australia, then went to do a postdoc in Israel at an NGO focused on monitoring and advocacy. Okay. And then immediately pivoted into online anti-septicism projects such as the Zionist Federation, the Global Forum for Combating Anti-Septicism, and then founded his NGO in 2012.
They seem to find NGOs like $20 on the ground, Oh, look at that, another NGO. Look at me.
Yeah, amazing. Right, that's the end of my intro. Let's do a few more super chats, and then you can get into the crowder. New GM for $10.
New rocking everywhere.
Strickland has beaten one of the best strikers the sport has seen, and now he's beaten one of the better wrestlers the sport has seen. Ardy, what are you smoking? He be smoking that rat feces, man.
This is like saying that when Matt Serra beat GSP, that makes Matt Serra a great fighter. Okay, Fist, continue. I'm going to get caught up on this for too long.
Okay. Grace Slayer for $5. Let me back in the super secret chat. I don't know, mate.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything. That's a different department. Okay. Here at Ardy and Fist, LLC. Okay. We want all of the fellas to have a great experience here. Okay, let us direct you to our someone who knows what the fuck is going on department. Okay.
Please rate your experience with Ardy and Fist Industries. Torture Wire for $5. We spent 600 million to call you terrible from every angle. Why would you still hate us? Yeah, it's a mystery, mate. It's a mystery, dude. Master Shake, 6 months membership. Woo!
Oh, thank you, bruv. Oh, I can throw that. Oh, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna do that.
Ardy, marry Fist so he can come to America.
So me and Fist have been looking into this for some time now. Okay. Now he does have an existing marriage, but there is a loophole. We could do a domestic partnership. I'm just kidding. I haven't looked into any of it at all.
You won't believe the things that Ardy has asked me to do to his body.
Would you?
Exchange, though.
I mean, but think like, would you fake it to get in the country? Could you? Could you?
I don't know. Right. It's a long list, mate. Like,
sure. Now, what if in London, 1 million more Muslims showed up tomorrow? What about then? See, this is the same game as like, how much money would it take for you to suck a dick? Someone starts off at like 10 billion. The person's like, yeah. And then you try and talk them down to like $5. Like, really? You wouldn't do $1 billion. They're like, yeah, I do. Sure. $1 billion. You're like, I put 900
I don't
million.
know, man. Like, man, so I went out in London, right? Like over the weekend.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll get out of the house. There was a hot sauce festival on, right? And I'm like, hot sauce festival. That sounds great, right?
You're white. You couldn't possibly like that.
I do.
You don't like spicy things, white people.
It was a very, very white event, but it was in the middle of like this place called Peckham, which is like literally ninja hell. Like, my God. Oh, dude. Like, this friend of mine is like, if you go in there, man, like keep your head on a swivel. Like, there's dudes in like balaclavas on like bikes, like riding around, like just looking to like rob random people and stuff. Oh, it was fucking grim. And I'm like, yes, I see why it is. I don't go to like places in London. Flavius Acanisius for $10.
Oh, how are you there, mate?
I owe you all an apology. I've been doing malaka outside the temple.
It's okay, man. We all come to these conclusions differently.
Matty Ice for $10. Thank you very much, Matty. Domain names are clear text in HTTPS encrypted traffic. So are DNS resolutions. Yeah, well, only if you use a crappy VPN. Right?
Whoa. That's above my pay grade.
Matty is correct, right? Although the actual traffic that you send over the internet may be encrypted, a lot of the time the DNS request, right, where you try and like. So the internet works basically, right? Like www.google.com. Your computer doesn't think of it that way, right? Google.com to it is like, I don't know, 121.111 or blah, 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 blah. There's a thing called domain name service, which translates from google.com to the number. And so every single time you look something up, you've got to send a DNS request to a server, and that leaks the name of the site that you are trying to reach, right? So unless you use like a proper good like VPN, you can be like leaking information, and then they can just like block all DNS requests to that website, and then they can't resolve unless you know the IP number. So there you go. That's it.
All
Super
right.
Chat's chief. Time to get on to Fuentes Gate.
Looks
Is it
like
the gate?
it's time to frick. Here we go. Okay, let's get into it. So I've been criticizing the Groypers. I've been criticizing the Groypers because what does the Groyper behave like? What is the culture of America First? We'll never be in control of the politics. It'll never happen. We're not in control of the politics. So all we can do is control our behavior, the culture of it, right? I understand how like Andrew Wilson and like the Crucible and how those guys behave, and then Return to the Land and Patriot Front, even the Proud Boys, right? They would only want you behaving like a certain way publicly, especially this is a common thing, isn't it, Fist? If you're a part of a group and your behavior would be a reflection of that group. That doesn't seem to exist with the Groypers or with Nick Fuentes. It's America First, and being an American is do whatever you want, man.
No. Look, if I may make a comment on this, right? I think when Fuentes was coming up when the Groypers were coming up, right? They were using shock value deliberately as a way to like disrupt the thought frame, right? Which is all well and good. But there is a limit to shock value. There is diminishing returns, right? Like once the shock value runs out, you've got to have somewhere to go, right? Because once everyone normalizes to your shocking position, you can't just, it's no longer shocking. And so it loses utility, right? Like the whole moo thing. Like, you know, oh, did you know about the moos? Yeah, we know. We know. Okay. Everybody knows now.
Yeah.
What else have you got?
Right. So now he actually has like a spotlight on him. And it's like, what have you guys been doing for the past few years in the dark? Nothing. You can just be like, goy slop degen stuff is what it seems like. Anyway.
No, they have been disrupting the frame and they have been quite successful at that. But they need to like have something to go to.
Well, they need, I mean, does anybody think like, oh, Groypers? Like what pops into your head when you think Groyper? Is it positive? Like, I just don't like the idea that the only America First movement we can have is through Nick Fuentes, even though nobody really wants to associate with the word Groyper or what a Groyper is. So there seems to be a disconnect there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess.
This starts out, and they're playing a bunch of videos here, okay? And I'm thinking to myself, wow, they're really playing a lot of videos that they've made in the beginning.
Dong. Too many dongs for me.
Come on.
I mean,
come on now.
I call him as I dong.
We have a nice guest, Nick Fuentes. Sure, he's late and big time in me, but no, I'm kidding. Nick did reach out ahead of time and let us know that he was running late. So that's why we ran some of the best of intro.
What does he have to do where he's running late? Exactly, is all I'm saying.
I don't know. Where's Crowder's studio? Does anyone know? Like,
this is online. It's 10:30 for Nick Fuentes.
Oh, so he's not live in the studio then?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm just saying all he has to do is roll out of bed. Okay, this is the type of character that I'm talking about. If on one hand someone's going to be the leader of a movement I should listen to, and on the other hand, when he's being criticized, I'm just a little streamer. Is what I'm starting to get very annoyed with when I argue with the Groypers.
Welcome on, Nick Fuentes. All right, Senior Fuentes. Thank you for being. Can you see me? Can you hear me, sir?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well. What is, first off, you big timing, you show up late, and it's the one time you're not wearing a suit, you do the hoodie. What is this?
It's early for me, Steven. I do a nightly show, so this is like, it's early in the morning over here, 10:30.
This is what I'm saying, dude. It's just, I don't think he's really a man of character, is what I'm saying. Let's get into the debate, shall we? First thing we're going to have is Nick Fuentes has been consistently using Democrat talking points, including calling himself a Democrat, ironically, but also telling people to vote for Democrats. So Steven Crowder's like, you see why this is a little confusing, surely.
Been making a dent in that. And you could say, well, anything counts. I would say it doesn't make a difference. Like, not really. 600,000 against 20 million? Not really. And that's where I would say I favor taking the risk of getting something more radical than what we know, which is getting something that won't be anything.
Always talks
about shut up.
Radical as well. Radical.
Shut up. Oh my freak. Like, oh, we're just going to give power literally back to the people that engendered a global censorship regime, supported all of like the COVID extremists, and like, oh, dude.
Well, this is the issue, but it's like, it's for what payoff though is, and then there's never an answer for the payoff. And this is what people are getting frustrated about very quickly with the America First movement.
Does he think the Democrats are going to become pro-white? Like what he'd be smoking he'd be smoking that rat, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's a combination of it's irony when it's inconvenient and then not irony when it's a good thing, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and I can understand that position if I believe the numbers that you throw. Here's the one thing that I do notice, and I don't think that you're a Democrat. No, I really don't. But you do consistently use Democrat talking points against the right, and you have this is not a primary issue, right? You've advocated that your followers either sit out or vote Democrat in 2020, 22, 24. And as a result, the big one, and this is a big problem that I've had with your approach, not you as a human being. Georgia, right? That flipped the Senate with Kamala Harris as a tiebreaker. And precisely because if people had followed, I'm not saying that you're responsible, but if people had followed your prescription in Georgia, that would be the exact reason for 10 to 20 million illegal aliens coming over an open border.
And this is what keeps happening as well, where the Groypers will say they only got rid of 600,000 people. They need to get rid of 10 million people. So then we're going to vote for people that will open the border and bring in millions of people. It seems very politically immature that they're not getting everything they want as quickly as they want to get it, which then in my mind, I think, why would these people want your vote if they know how quickly you'll turn on them? Like, you're not a long-lasting voter.
Right, but look, but on the other hand, if you tether yourself inextricably to one side or the other, then they just take your votes for granted. Now, I in my opinion, I think this is what Nick is doing, right? Like the election isn't for a couple of years. And if he comes out steadily and says, we'll vote for the Republicans no matter what, then any leverage he has disappears. So like, this is just sort of basic political leveraging 101. I don't know. The problem is that there's so much optics figging in Democratic politics, and it's unavoidable. It's one of the reasons why it annoys the hell out of me, because you can't be sort of like a monarch.
Oh, so somebody makes a good point in chat that this is more about the midterms in November.
Right. Okay. So this is
so far in this conversation, but then what you are saying also does apply.
Okay. So this is about the midterms, right? But with all the redistricting, aren't the Republicans like basically a shoe-in anyway? Like what is Nick planning on supporting specific Democratic senators or House members? Is that the play? I guess we'll find out soon, right? Is he going to like throw his weight behind like some Senate nomination in like some state? I mean, that would be okay from a political point of view.
Yeah,
that could work, right? He could sidle up to someone and say, hey, if you're pro-white, we'll get behind you. The problem is the same problem that's in every single goddamn democracy. Once they get into power, they're going to kick you to the curb because all of your people are so unpleasant.
I mean, let's not forget that he campaigned with Laura Loomer in 2022 and clinked glasses with Laura Loomer in 2022 to try and get her elected based on what she was saying. And it's like, okay, guys, you've been burned before. I don't know if we really trust your discernment. Nope. It can only be America First, can only be Nick Fuentes. As long as you forget all the times he's been incorrect is the issue that I have. The gatekeeping of the America First thing.
This is all getting very, very confusing. I'm starting to think that actually there are like hardcore structural reasons why the US will never reverse immigration. And it's the same reason why they couldn't just abolish slavery, quite frankly, right? There's too much economic stuff caught up in it, and they're like afraid of turmoil.
If you remove 10 million people, what is the impact of that? They're like, I don't care what the impact is. And it's like, okay, well, it's probably, there's a reason in there somewhere. It's okay. We'll watch more of it.
Well, that would be the exact reason for stopping them. That would be the exact reason for a doubling in some instances of H-1Bs. And I don't think that those changes are mild. When you say 600,000, we both know that is a point that the left will use. It's not accurate. You do have to include self-deportations because there's an incentive for self-deportations and more people are self-deporting. Next thing, I bet you'll say that Obama or Clinton deported more people. We did an entire segment on this because people on the right are saying that, and it's factually not true.
Well, I never encourage people to vote Democrat in 2022, 24. Only this is the first year I've told people to vote Democrat. All those other elections, I told people to sit out selectively or altogether. But the Georgia Senate runoff, which is, I think, what you're talking about, January 5, 2021, with Loeffler and Perdue, this is, again, it's like Trump, I think we both agree, got cheated out of that election. Like they stole the election. At the same time, Republicans controlled the state legislature in all the swing states, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, everywhere where that was being adjudicated, Republicans were in control, and they just refused to do anything. They refused to change the slate of electors. And at the same time that they were telling us, we're not going to remedy the election, they were also begging us to vote to hold the line in the Senate. And here I am saying, wait a second, why don't we hold the line in the White House? You're worried about the Senate. And then I would add on top of that, and maybe this is going to be controversial, I actually don't think Republicans are really all that against illegal immigration. I think that Democrats and Republicans maybe wanted the illegals here because there was a significant labor shortage after the pandemic ended. People were slow to return to work.
Now, clearly the issue that people have with this is when Democrats were in control, the border was opened up. Trump administration got in control. It has been significantly reduced, and they're actually doing something about it. And then the argument is, well, they're not doing enough. And then it's like, well, what is the alternative? None of them seem to be able to answer what is the alternative, and it's starting to drive me fucking crazy. It's starting to feel like a psyop. Because like, okay, well then what is the alternative? Well, that's not good enough. It's going to be 100 million. It's like, okay,
right.
well then
The alternative is to do what they did in Minneapolis everywhere, and look at what a shit show that turned out to be. And the only reason that they even like did Minneapolis is because the Israelis wanted to weaken Somalia for their foreign policy objectives, right? I think that if you asked a lot of these state governments who was doing the fraud and, you know, how to like remove these people, they wouldn't have the first clue. Like really, you would need essentially, I don't know, the FBI or the DHS or like some domestic intelligence agency to start running like very, very serious infiltration, information collection ops on all of these cities. And that might take like years before you get like a really good idea. There's unfortunately
Trump's been president for like not even 2 years. And then it's like, it's already not good enough. This is what I'm saying, where it's like, well, why would they want to appease you when his rhetoric publicly is that's not enough? As if it's easy, by the way. As if the Democrats helped the Trump administration with trying to get any of this fucking shit done, right?
Yeah.
On one hand, we admit that we've been subverted and they gum up the system intentionally. But on the other hand, he's not doing it fast enough.
Might I also point out, right? So, you know, since hantavirus is becoming a thing, right? One of the things that I've been thinking about is how there is really never any downside to fucking over your country if you live in if you're a leader in a democratic state, right? What happened to Mayorkas? He literally, right, like opened the borders, let all these people flood in. Who knows how many people died as a result? What's he doing now? He's fine. Fauci is that nothing's going to happen to him. It just got like announced there's not going to be anything bad happen to him. This is a very serious problem, right? Like there has to be some kind of consequences for people who deliberately like do this kind of stuff, because otherwise what's the impetus? Like really you just go, well, I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. I'll just get pardoned. Like, fuck, I hate it.
They were being paid too much. And, you know, so you could say, like, if only Republicans had won, then there wouldn't be 10 to 20 million illegals.
But what numbers do you have to back that up? First off, Nick, come on, you did. You told people to sit out or vote. In 2022, you told them to sit out or vote Democrat. And I'll give you 2020, you said you did. But in 2020...
No, in 2020, I was pro-Trump.
No, in 2020, yeah, but in 2022, you told people to sit out or vote Democrat. I remember
I didn't tell them to vote Democrat in 22. I just said sit out.
Now, this is always fascinating how somebody manages to find Nick Fuentes being duplicitous. Like, Steven Crowder has everything that he says is available on his website, as he always says, okay? When he makes a claim like this in a very certain fashion, he explicitly remembers that he said that. I just think it's funny that in so many conversations, Nick Fuentes always manages to find himself talking to someone that's like, I'm pretty sure you said the opposite. And he's like, nope, that never happened. Very consistent in his conversations.
You said sit out or vote Democrat. In 2020, you did not say vote Democrat. You said we're going to destroy the GOP and to sit out the runoff in Georgia, which is exactly what flipped the Senate, which is exactly what opened the borders and stopped the border wall and led to the woke fucking nightmare that we dealt with, right? Because if people had gone out... Okay, go ahead.
Got to correct the record. I got to correct the record. In the 2020 election, I told people vote Trump. It was only in the runoff in Georgia in January 5, 21, that I said, sit this one out. In 22, you know, I don't remember, it was 4 years ago. I believe I just said, don't vote Republican. Like 26, it was a big deal for me to say, vote Democrat, because I'm not a Democrat, as you know, and I appreciate you clarifying that. But no, I've only told people to sit out. This is the first year I'm saying punish them. And I guess the larger point is maybe we just disagree on the level of complicity of the Republicans. I think they're utterly complicit, because even going back to, and this is formative for me, Trump won in 2016 saying border wall. And you remember Republicans wouldn't give him more than $1.8 billion for that little fence in the Rio Grande Valley. And they said, no, we're going to focus on Obamacare and the tax cut. We'll do the border wall after the midterms, which they lost. And then they shrugged and said,
Nick, but now be accurate with your audience. Why wasn't the border wall built? Was it for the same reason that it was completely paused after the 2020 midterms? In other words, you say Republicans, do you mean Democrats? And so they said the perfect is the enemy of the good, and they got done what they could get done at that time. It would be like people in the future saying, he didn't do anything about H-1B visa extension.
And so Crowder's position is going to be like, I don't think it reminds me of BLM, where the demands are never going to be satiated. Yeah. It seems like there is no ask where he could go, okay, then I will vote for them. And I mean, explore that a little bit.
During his first term, particularly, like Trump was obstructed in like literally every single thing that he tried to do.
No, not an excuse. He's the president. It's a very simple It's a very
yeah, but
simple-
he's not a fucking dictator. I mean, I wonder like if you offered him the dictatorship, he'd probably go for it, right? But he's not. Like, this is the problem with like countries. They're very, very complicated systems. I think this is one of the reasons why you find so many accelerationists, because it becomes essentially a Gordian knot. You know what the Gordian knot is, Ardy?
No.
Okay, so the Gordian knot is this like old legend connected to Alexander the Great. Okay, so he's going through, I think it was, I don't know, Macedonia somewhere. Okay, right. And in this town, there's this thing called the Gordian knot. And it's this huge knot that's been there for like ages and ages, and no one can untie it, right? And it's become something of a thing, like, oh, can you untie the Gordian knot? And Alexander goes up and he just takes his sword and he just like slices it in two. And then, you know, he's like, he's the guy, you know, because there was a whole bunch of stuff around Alexander about how he was like destined to be the Uber Chad and stuff. And so this has birthed the expression of something so complicated that it can't be unraveled without highly radical action, essentially.
Mm-hmm. And so that's what we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go to, okay. So apparently Nick Fuentes is cooking us something up in the background, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then especially because it's me. I can't be the harbinger of whoever the candidate will be.
Well, why?
But,
Let's explore that, though, because we both agree, two-party system, you need voting blocks. You need coalition. So if there are that many people out there who share your view, shouldn't be a problem for you to endorse anyone. As a matter of fact, that's a net positive. So give us the name.
I can't do that. Once again, it's not somebody that's announced they're running. It's not somebody that maybe even is in contention. But I mean, you know how this goes. When you have people that are running for president, they don't say they're not going to make an announcement until they're ready to make an announcement.
Well, sure, but usually these people who are developing Republican strategies aren't telling people to vote Democrat in a midterm, right? That's a long game, and you need that answer for people to take it on faith. Otherwise, it's just snake handling.
Well, I think that, you know, once again, either way, you can take my word for it or not, but what isn't going to work is Vance and Rubio. Like, that's a 0-win proposition. You could sit there and say, well, but that's better than a Democrat. At least that's concrete. I would say it's concrete that we're going to lose. It's concrete that if we get a continuation of this, we're going to get more of this, and this is not working. So rather than trying something that isn't working, I want to give a chance at something.
Fisk, compared to the UK, is this that we have, would you say, working better? Do you see how it's like, but work, like what would be working to him? It's things that take time. And this is why with the accelerationism without incrementalism is just French Revolution bullshit, or just losing or leaving it up. Like, on one hand, he's very dissident and radical, right? But then when it comes down as to what to do, he's like, you got to vote your heart out.
Listen, man, if the Democrats get back in, as I said, right, they will revivify the global censorship industrial complex. Like, all of those little gremlins that were like attached to the UK-US censorship industrial complex, they all fled the US when Trump got in, and they're now lurking in countries like Australia and the UK and in Canada, just waiting for Trump to get out so they can slither back into the US and redo sort of COVID levels of censorship, which is basically what they want. Shit could be much worse. You could be in the UK. I mean, I wonder if it's because, you know, Fuentes just hangs out in Chicago. I mean, I don't, you know, I haven't been to Chicago. I can't comment, but based on the way he describes his surroundings, it's a bit like, you know, me being in London. You know, there are other parts of America he could go to that are, you know, really very nice. I never see him going to like Tennessee or Idaho or, you know, Wisconsin or any of those.
Yeah,
places.
he's outside of Chicago.
Sorry?
He's outside of Chicago. Are you talking about Fuentes?
Yeah, Fuentes. Yeah.
Yeah, he's right outside of Chicago. It's in something similar to me that's much larger.
Yeah, exactly.
Which he's been criticized by Arval and whatnot, and then he's like, that's just boring to live out there with the white people. And it's like, well, yeah, you have to actually like the getting away from the goy slop. Can we all agree is boring, right? That's what getting away from the goy slop is. It's less hedonism.
It's boring to be out there with all the white people, dude. You've got the internet, right? You know, you could just keep working, right? Like if you're just isolated at home in your house, just take a freaking laptop with you and just be like, all right, welcome to America First, live from fucking, oh my God.
Watch the blacks beat each other up from afar like we all do, you know?
I just love the hustle and bustle of the big city, you know, the siren.
He doesn't though, he stays at home essentially.
That's
indoors
my
all
point.
day.
That's exactly my fucking point, right? He could do that from like a shack in like
he can do his job essentially anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what I say about his coalition building. But so if the Republicans lose and the Democrats win, historically, what Steven Crowder's argument is, the Republican that wins the next time is typically a moderate Republican.
Right.
Because you've just been through. So it's what I've been saying, where it's like, to be really impressive, like 3 or 4 years ago, you would go, I'm against mass immigration into the country, illegal immigration. I'm against transing the kids. Right there, you could be a moderate Republican and go, oh, well, this guy, that sounds pretty good.
Right.
Because of who because you're competing with a crazy Democrat.
Okay, but let's imagine it's Newsom, okay?
Yeah.
Mr. fucking sleek hair American psycho himself. That motherfucker will say anything to get into power. He'll be like, oh, yeah, we're putting the work away. We're going to, like, you know, how the hell would you trust the governor of California, of all places, to crack down on illegal immigration? The problem with the left as well is their fundamental assumption that bad deeds come from bad ideas, bad thoughts, and bad thoughts are caused by bad words. And there is no getting around that. That is literally how they see the world. So the way to like stop people doing bad stuff, which is always defined as like stuff their political opponents do, is to control thought and to control speech. It's baked in.
Connection. I agree with you, is what I was saying.
But, okay, and fair enough. I don't want to mischaracterize your position. However, you must acknowledge the way it's looking, they're going to consolidate behind one or the other. And right now, it looks like Rubio is the donor choice. The Wall Street donors, the pro-Israel donors, they're taking informal survey. They want Rubio. And to me, it's like, okay, 10 years after Trump defeated Rubio, New American Century, Miriam Adelson's puppet, I think Trump literally said at AIPAC, or the Republican Jewish Coalition, he said, you want Rubio because he's your puppet and he'll do whatever you want because he takes your money. He's a Florida creature.
He also said Ted Cruz's dad killed JFK. Come on, we know what goes on with primaries with Trump. And one thing I do have to address, he's not an outlier. Republicans won in 2014 before Trump paved the way for him. That's what I'm saying. If they win, you can veer them further right. They also won in 2022. If they win, you can veer them right. That's what paved the way for Trump. So it actually proves a point. If Republicans lose, you guaranteed historically pave the way for a moderate Republican. It doesn't go the other way. So I'm asking you, and that's what I don't want. That's a big fear of mine, by the way. I don't like, I'm not all in on Rubio. Or
this is the point that I keep making, where Fuentes doesn't technically really have a stake in the country. Because even if a Democrat's president, he gets to stay in his fortress, right? He doesn't have kids that are going to school with Democrats in power and shit like that. So that's the reason why I make that criticism, because obviously he's okay, taking a risk or something like that. Because what does he actually have to like materially lose, really?
Dude, he's got everything to materially lose, right? His show, his fame. If the
How would he lose it?
If Biden
already survived that.
No, they could always do more. They could always do more, right? They could just pass some law specifically targeting him. They could send like 1 billion glowies around.
They already had the opportunity to do that.
I mean, okay.
Okay, wait. So he loses a show as opposed to what? Somebody where their kids are trying to be getting transed in school, or blacks beating up their kids in school and nobody gives a shit, or a long list of things that I can give you with Democrats in charge that I've already been through, or that we've already been through. Fuentes, you really think that's a threat? Is him if the Democrats are in control? He already survived January 6th. I don't even know what you're talking about. I think it's clear with anything happening to him.
I guess. I don't know. I just feel like the dirty tricks have no end. Fundamentally, right? He was nowhere near as big a voice around January 6th. Right now, he would be like a proper target.
I suppose, but I don't think he really. I don't think he thinks that. I'll put it to you that way.
Okay, fair enough.
No matter what, he's going to have a show.
Vance, but I would like to not see someone worse, to not see someone more moderate, to not see a Romney or McCain. That's what we'd be looking at if there's a big Democrat win. You just made my point with Trump, right? He was able to because of 2014 Republican. He probably wouldn't have been able to if you were looking at a Republican loss. It would have been like Goldwater. It would have been like McCain.
But you had a Democrat incumbent or a Democrat leaving office, which was Obama. Here's the dynamic, the way that I see it, is that Democrats win in 2026, and they're going to sabotage this administration because they're going to impeach Trump. They're going to investigate everybody, and they're going to find embezzlement, corruption. Like there's some problems in this administration, or at least there's a lot of smoke, let's say, around Howard Lutnick and some of the crypto stuff. And there's a lot that I would even like to see investigated. And So everybody in the administration is going to be hurt by this, Rubio and Vance included. That weakens them ahead of the primary. If they are toxic.
He's only thinking of the administration being hurt. He's not thinking of any other effect outside of the administration, quote unquote, being hurt.
Yeah. Because
he's thinking of like the societal effects of it.
Yeah, he's a politics artist.
With nothing to lose, though. It's not like he has like family, like anything that's already happened to him has already happened.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to endure like family members and children going to school and what world they're going to grow up in and or anything like that. That's why I said the state of the country.
Yeah, good point.
Associated to the administration, which is failing more under Democrats, then to me, that provides an opening for somebody fresh from the outside that says, I'm sort of repudiating Trump's legacy, or maybe even I have some allegiance to Trump's original message in 2016. You know, maybe I'm going to save Trumpism from itself or where it went astray. That's kind of, you know, I don't think we need to get into like Barry Goldwater. That's how I see it. If Republicans are If Trump is strong going into 28, then his people are strong. They have a better chance of winning the primary, and there's big consolidation. If they're weak, then people are going, oh, I don't know. Rubio and Vance are toxic. They're tied to Trump. They're unpopular. Maybe we need something else. So I think that's the dynamic. I mean, do you disagree, and why?
Well, if he's strong, wouldn't that suggest that the country's in a good place?
Yeah, I do. In a better place.
In a better place with Democrats.
Right. No. If Trump is strong.
We're saying if strong going into 28 after people vote Democrat.
No. If Trump is strong, if Democrats don't win big and they're not able to sabotage him.
Okay.
He'll be stronger than he would have been otherwise.
So wait, are you saying he would be strong because people vote Democrat?
No, I'm saying he's stronger if Democrats don't win.
Right. The midterms.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So how does that play into your plan? And forgive me, it could have been a timeline there where I was confused. I was assuming that we were going along with your plan and Democrats get voted in 2026.
Yeah, Democrats get voted in 26 and they weaken Trump. Trump is weaker. And by association, everybody else is weaker. Rubio, Vance, because again, they're going to dredge up all this stuff and you're not going to be able to run from that because they're going to haul people before the House. They're going to impeach people. It's going to get ugly. Sure. And I want them to because this administration's a failure. It's an utter betrayal. And I don't think I don't want to say you won't acknowledge. I think you disagree, but they promised mass deportations and that's not happening. They promised no new wars and we got a war with Iran. They stabbed us in the back.
So a couple of things there. And I think this is important. We did get it. And if you want to predicate it on Democrat numbers that we don't have deportations or enough, but at least we have some versus mass importations. And I certainly would say if you look at the matter of record that even from left-leaning.
We all saw that when ICE was trying to do their jobs, what the left was doing and how mainstream media was covering it. All of that's omitted. It's just that we're not doing enough. They didn't do anything. They did nothing. Why would anyone in a position of power ever want to appease a person like that? It's never that's what I'm saying. If he was making concessions along the way and making it a little more dicey, right? But the way he's saying is that they've done nothing.
But why haven't they hauled Mayorkas to jail? Right? That would send a much stronger signal. On the other hand, right? If they did that, then that might just be sort of encouraging the Democrats to jail more people when they get in, right? It might just be this gentleman's agreement, right? That we don't do that. So, but then you wind up in, the US, in my opinion, has been in a sort of soft civil war for ages, frankly, because the two main sort of thought frames cannot coexist. So you're just going to get this back and forth until something breaks beyond repair.
I know, but it was so bad in 2020 that a lot of us feel like people just forgot and don't care.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We've seen what they're capable of doing. Do you remember how quickly trans kids became normalized?
Oh, yeah.
When the left has any sort of power, we saw what they did in Virginia. They work very quickly, and it takes the right longer to try to undo it.
Yeah, of course. Because the right doesn't have the kind of transformative vision that the left has.
They're not allowed to. I mean, even us showing Pat Buchanan in 1992, and they're and how Dinesh D'Souza conspired to make sure everyone thinks he's a racist, and this has been happening. We're not allowed to.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, at a certain point, that's going to stop. Even all the going around calling everyone a racist and an anti-citrite. We have finally reached the curve of diminishing returns very, very seriously now, to the point where no one gives a crap anymore. So I don't know what they're going, because usually the left, when they reach that point of ultimate diminishing return, they just resort to violence, really, because nothing will dissuade them.
This is my point. either the either the neolibs, they're both neo, either the neolibs are in charge and they destroy my country, or the neocons are in charge and they destroy another country. If those are my two options, why wouldn't I choose the neocons? Then people go, well, it's dumb that there's only two. Are you new, motherfucker? Yeah, lots of things are dumb, but I'm living in reality.
Yeah, it's a two-party system. What do you want?
It is dumb, right? It's
yeah.
just the same thing as always, and it's like they're deporting people, and you don't think it's enough. You want how many? This is why it feels like I'm talking to BLM. They're insatiable. There's no answer, and no, I'm sorry, there is an answer, okay? But they want to get rid of white supremacy in their own way, whatever that is. Whatever they want done can't be done in a quick enough way. So they're like, oh, well, then we'll just, leverage our voting block power. You have to be a coalition builder to have fucking voting block power. I don't know if people believe that there's that many voting groypers, okay? I don't know. We don't, when I see groypers, I'm just saying, okay? When I see a groyper, I have a certain perception of them, okay? That's changing, like with Tom Foe and Atlas Thugged, who will be debating, actually, after the stream. I'll probably raid those guys. They're going to be debating Wignats. So
yeah,
the perception is different.
They're good dudes. I've been talking to Tom a bit. Well, I've been interacting with him on Twitter.
Nothing but good things to say about them.
Seems like a really nice guy. Shout out, Tom, if you listen to this. Shall we do some super chats then?
Oh, sure.
Jam for $50.
Ooh!
Hey guys, I'm here now. Sorry I missed Friday. That's okay. Just don't let it happen again, mate. By the way, Fist, do you have any book recommendations for getting to orthodoxy? I'm an ortho-curious, filthy Protestant and wanting something better. I replied in the chat, but for everyone else, I would read Father Seraphim. I forget the title of his book, but he's got a number of books where he talks about he was basically grew up as a hippie in California and then converted to orthodoxy, and he talks a lot about how the religions of the age, essentially like New Age and all this kind of other stuff, is basically devil worship, really. And there's another book called The Orthodox Way that's really, really good. And I would also read John Chrysostom and who's the other guy? Oh yeah, I already mentioned. Yeah, so look, check it out. See what you think, Jam.
I know this. What I'm going to say is probably viewed as very improper, but it's how my retarded brain thinks about it. Remember back in the day, Fist, you'd see a girl, you find out she had daddy issues, and you go, "Oh, we're gonna be okay," Now when somebody comes in and goes, I'm a Protestant and I'm okay. Yeah, I know you're curious. You're going to live in 2 weeks, dude. Okay, that's like Protestants are like the daddy issues of the religious world. That's what my brain told me to say. All right, but there is a lot of Protestants that come in that are ortho-curious. It's very common.
Volpez Persona says, Seraphim Rose's big book was Orthodoxy and the Religion of the Future. Thank you, Volpez Persona. See, man, I can always rely on chat to help me out. Good luck with your journey, Jam. Yeah, the Protestants are in a bit of a pickle at the moment. I'm not surprised. Woof. Kylarian Emily for $5. Thank you. Nick is nothing more than a Fugathi, a farce, a charlatan for the right, a clown, you might say.
Well, I mean, this has been an ongoing criticism. You can't win if you're talking about Nick Fuentes. No matter what, I'm going to be criticized by people, and I understand. I'm now understanding the people that are more critical of Nick Fuentes more than the people that are supporting Nick Fuentes, because his supporters agree with 100% of what he says and they just sweep for him. It's like Hassan Piker fans. It's like James Lindsay-ites. That's what it feels like. And it's really difficult to find good conversations with them. They do exist, as what I'm learning. I think what it is since Nick has become popular, people just call themselves a groyper loosely. But I've been following Nick Fuentes for 8 years now. So to me, a groyper is way more hardcore. There's not a casual groyper to me, but I'm learning that since he's become popular, there's more casual groypers.
Casual groypers. Tacit Tempo for $5. Thank you, mate. On the topic of the hunter, what do you all think about the tick epidemic turning people vegan, vegetarian? Seems pretty evil. yes, it is evil. They don't want the serfs eating meat. I
knew someone that told me that they got bit by a tick and they can't eat meat anymore. And I laughed at him. I'm like, yeah, what are you talking about? They're like, then I talked to him for like a half an hour, and I was like, that's a fucking real thing.
Oh yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Like, stay the hell away from ticks. Non-sleeper for $10. Thank you very much, mate. This is why people should be having large families and pushing for change at the local levels at places we can control. Well, precisely. But I think one of the strengths of whites, particularly modern whites, and also one of their great weaknesses is this sort of institutional structure and control thing, right? As an advantage, when it's working well, it's amazing, okay? Because you can like mobilize entire populations, you can make like armies, all this kind of other stuff. But when it gets subverted at the top, or when like the whole thing starts like falling apart, it becomes like a great disadvantage because everyone's like always expecting the great leader to step in and take control of the system and bond everyone together. And sometimes that's not going to happen. Let's see, who else we got? Matty Ice for $10.
Well, hello there, mate.
One of the Dems' strength is that they're never satisfied. Right probably can't zealously demand the moon because they have not exercised their winning muscles in a long time outside of court. Yeah, but also the right, the positive vision of the right, like, is basically verboten. Okay, because
right. So I'm saying not allowed is what I mean by that.
Yeah, because the only like transformative vision that you're allowed to have is immediately mustache man. Right?
No, we have to suffer through being forced to be liberals. We're forced to be liberals. You're not allowed to be anything other than a liberal if you're a white guy. And when I say liberal, I mean like, no, it has to be like individualism. You can't do collectivism. Everyone else gets to break away from their liberalism. Oh, it's only foisted upon the white man.
Yeah, so what happens is that the right defaults to this sort of soft view of, well, if we just go back 30, 40 years. But that doesn't undo any of the sort of rails that allowed communism to prosper in the first place. So eventually, if it gets bad enough, you will get this sort of positive vision emerge. And then all the lefties will run around and call everyone a fasci. I mean, again,
tale is all the time.
Yeah, I know, right? Ardent Party for 5 loonies.
Yar.
Loose groypers. I get that when I eat too much fast food. Ay caramba. Find me on X at Ardent Party, Rumble at Ardent Plays. Like the stream, share the stream, feed the Banhammer. Yes, indeed, do check out Ardent Party stuff. Best mod in the business. His Banhammer is thirsty. All right.
Okay. So now we're going to have Crowder asking for something concrete, right? Very similar to BLM, very ideological, okay? They're demanding things. We want justice. What the fuck is that? What exactly do you want? So he's going to be requesting something more concrete to sink his teethers into.
People would have taken that deal. And instead, you're saying hand it over to the people who opened it up. So let's go back to that. I'm fine with it, with that risk. In other words, if you're telling me we can get much better. So the Nick Fuentes plan is we can get 100% deportations, right? Not 87% H-1Bs. We can get 100% H-1 done completely. Guarantee it. We can get Medicaid, not just a $900 billion. All of this, you can get it done because you're going to vote Democrat in 2026. And then I still need concrete.
Well, let's just reframe the deal a little bit, okay? Because here's the real deal is Republicans say we're going to build a wall, and a wall, Trump said 30-foot concrete structure, 2,000 miles of wall. That was the proposal in January 2018. That's what we had in mind.
Sure.
Well, what you're really going to get is 130 miles of 18-foot steel bollard fencing with a 5-foot climbing plate after 10 years. Then they say mass deportations. We're going to deport 1 million people per year. They don't even release the numbers. According to the New York Times, they deported 230,000 last year. Maybe they arrested 300,000 more. Okay, that's not a mass deportation. You're not even making a dent. Hang on, in just those 10 years. Then you want to say, well, they cut 800.
Very quickly, I just want to make the point that when the left is in charge, they have NGOs training for exactly what they're going to do as soon as they have political power, and all of a sudden they can mobilize quickly. The right has to actually interview people and goes, "Wow, okay, well, we finally have power." They have no parallel NGO institutions, thousands across the country, to be able to immediately implement a bunch of ICE agents.
Also, one of the things that I've noticed about Nick is he never really talks economics, right? Like, I don't know whether he just doesn't understand it or anything, right? But that is a curious thing he never talks about. So why is it that all these Western countries constantly need more and more migrants? What is it?
GDP number go up, cheap labor.
No, right. But what causes wages to constantly rise? Like, why is there this constant upward pressure? Well, the answer is usury and fiat money. So if he wants a radical change, what he should be talking about is abolishing the fucking Federal Reserve. But oh no, I guess that's a bridge too far. I don't think I've ever heard him mention.
Yeah, if you want to be extreme, that should be at the forefront. Because like, how many examples does a person have to supplement their point where they're talking about that? And you're targeting an institution, not people.
And he says like, oh, if the Democrats, no, they'll do. Listen, what is the money power going to say about this? They're not going to say the money power is politically neutral, right? They don't give a fuck really who's in power as long as it feeds their objectives. Now, the head of the Federal Reserve is about to be replaced by a moo who's like related to, who's he related to? Some guy he's related to, like Big Moo, which will probably just enable even more money printing, even more scams, even more insider trading. Nick never mentions any of this, really, right? Like, what is the fundamental economic basis of the United States? It is fiat money and unlimited inflation. And if multipolarity becomes a thing, and the US loses the war in Iran, which it looks like it's doing, this is going to become a very, very fucking serious problem. So I don't know.
Right. Now, I just want to add something very quickly. Nick Fuentes has really weird fingers. I also wanted to just add something to the conversation. Look at his thumb. You guys ever notice how odd his fingers are? You're not going to be able to unsee it. See, I can talk global politics too. Okay, let's continue.
$1 billion in Medicaid to pay for a permanent cut in the corporate tax rate. And they want a $1.5 trillion military for this year alone. And we have a war in Iran that's costing us $50, maybe $100 billion when all is said and done, not to mention the gas prices. So it's like, we're promised all these things. We never get them. And so you're right. It's a huge risk, but I'm saying I'm not going Democrat. I'm not going center right. I'm voting no on both of those. And yeah, I'm hoping that we can open up a space where someone far right can fill it. And you're right. It's a huge risk. You're right. It's totally uncertain. But I think the real risk, again, is, these half measures. I think.
Wouldn't you already have a selection of guys if that was going to be your plan? Right? You just hope somebody can fill it. This is what's very unconvincing about this. And this is why I don't want this to be the only person that I can listen to when it comes to America First, if this is what they're saying. But then he turns into tee-hee little streamer guy at that point. Now he's no longer the leader of a political movement, man. He's just giving his ideas. But then he's also gatekeeping that, like, the only one that can be in charge of this movement. But he's not in charge of the movement. It's very Mott and Bailey.
Convenient.
Unless we have radical reform, it's either we're getting our head cut off or we're getting cut in half. I'm voting for, like, maybe there'll be some option where we don't get totally destroyed. And that's all I'm interested in. That's all I care about. You want to cut around the edges on immigration. Like, it's not going to meaningfully change the demographics of the country. How many illegals are here? 40, 50 million. You want to say, well, we deported 1 million. It's like, okay, cool. Like, we're still in this immigrant nation. So.
Yeah, no, well, first off, I'm familiar with that New York Times article. They said at 500,000, and that's not including self-deportations, which is the vast majority of them. I get that you say, I don't count it. I don't count self-deportations. I don't believe
arrests and removals. So 500,000 is arrests and removals.
I don't believe in self-deportations. Okay. That's still very different from 10 to 20 million in the span of 3 years, which you guaranteed will get. Let's assume you don't believe the Democrats' clearly laid out plan of packing the courts, of undoing all the decisions, of making Puerto Rico a state, of redistricting. Let's assume you don't believe any of that. Will we both agree, for sure, if Democrats attain power, another 10 to 20 million illegals in that term?
I'm not sure. I really have no idea. I think
if you're a betting man, Nick.
Honestly, no, because you know what?
So they did it under Biden, but learned their lesson?
No, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
If you look at Davos this year, there was agreement, actually. I think Clinton said this in an interview sometime after this. I believe Hillary Clinton, that is. I believe Bill Gates said something to this effect. They said, because of AI, we don't actually want the irregular migration anymore. Like, why did they need the illegal immigration in 21, 22, 23? Because there was a labor shortage after the pandemic ended. And so, yeah, I do think actually the tides have shifted.
I don't agree with that.
Okay, well, I mean, that's what they say.
Here's the thing. I think, no, I understand. I don't agree with their framing.
Oh, okay.
Meaning there wasn't a labor shortage. And that's what's so distressing about the left. And this is why I can't vote for them. This is how sinister they are. They specifically hired and replaced, and you've talked about this, replaced Americans with third world labor. Native-born American jobs went down after the pandemic. Foreign-born jobs went up. It's directly flipped under Trump. So there wasn't a labor shortage. We would both have to agree the Democrats lied. They wanted cheap labor because ultimately they wanted votes. That's my only disagreement. I think they're
the reason why I say BLM is because Nick just is refusing to admit any positive thing the Trump administration has done. So he's minimizing anything that the administration has done, anything that's positive, anything that's actually changed people's lives in any sort of small way. And then he's also minimizing the threat of the Democrats as well. So I think that's what like feels wrong about his approach.
The Trump admin has clearly done positive stuff, like, you know, closing the border, liberalizing free speech. Like, it's, you know, it's a mixed bag. Like,
well, that's the thing. Like, think of what the left has done to him, and he's like, but this is why I don't think he's afraid, okay, of the left doing anything to him, because he's already experienced the brunt of that. And look at how much more speech Nick has when the right's in charge. But he's like, nah, it's not none of it's worth it. It's not convincing when a lot of us are having way more fun on the internet. And we're like, well, this does feel different than when the Democrats were in charge.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens with Big Moo, right? Like, you know, they can very easily
worse
turn
than
around.
Big Tobacco.
Yeah, right. They could easily turn. But the thing is, again, you have this thing called the First Amendment, and your Supreme Court doesn't seem to be insane. You got none of those protections in the rest of the West, right? Like, there's no First Amendment in the UK. Like, so you'd notice, obviously. Like, you have in Australia, you have an implied right to freedom of speech. That's literally how they phrase it. You have it's not directly stated. It's just implied. Right, which is a loophole large enough to literally like fly an aircraft carrier through, sail an air. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So now we're gonna get to some good meat right here.
Become far more moderated, especially in the wake of Dobbs, Roe v. Wade. If you look at the public perception of transgenderism, that's changed dramatically. If you look at the public cancel culture, remember, that's no longer a thing. Also on that one, Trump said it backtracked immediately after backlash because he's responsive to them. But no, this is the social conservatism. Actually, in a lot of ways, people, there's a resurgence in it. I know because you've discussed it. You see what they call the manosphere. People like Andrew Wilson out there, people wanting to solve the problem of marriage because that is an issue. People wanting families. The very fact that people are saying, hey, the American dream is out of reach is because they've realized that they've been sold a false bill of goods through these institutions, right? Be a boss, babe, go out, be promiscuous, have your abortions. Like, well, I don't want that, but houses are still too expensive. And I would agree, they're coming down, but they're still too expensive. I would not agree at all that social conservatism is dead. It's certainly much more mainstream and acceptable than it was when I was, a teenager.
I disagree. I think you look at the GOP now, they're religiously pluralistic. You know, they have all these like Hindus involved, like Charlie Kirk wanted to call it ethical monotheism is like the new credo. So we can incorporate all these other traditions. You have the Trump administration's pro-IVF. They're not fighting on gay marriage. They have all kinds of gay people in the administration. They're not fighting on abortion. They overturned Roe. Now they don't want to do anything more about it. And then even with the transgenders, it's like, to me, that's the furthest, most extreme reach. And they're barely able to draw a line on that. They're not fighting feminism at all. You think about the party 20 years ago, and there was like a moral majority, and you had these like, extremely Christian. Sure. But even under the Bush administration, now I feel like they've just kind of given that up. And now this administration is like, not everybody's Christian. Like I said, you've got some of these deviants involved. Like, so you have to admit that that's not really as much of a part of the platform as it was under Reagan or Bush 1 or 2. It is a much less socially conservative party.
You just skim past Dobbs, Roe v. Wade overturn. Like, you skim past that. That's monumental.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess it's not everything. It's not everything, but it is the single biggest, most impactful policy on abortion, which, by the way, we all assumed was a foregone conclusion in a degenerate society. It came as a shock, and it was such a shock the left rallied behind it, right? Can we just, like, you can't skim past that. It's not perfect, but that's a huge change.
I mean, to me, it's not a question of perfect. It's just when you look at the overall climate, like, is this Republican Party as Christian as it was 20 years ago?
Yeah, but like, look at it in general. Whenever there's something to be celebrated, this is what I noticed with the left is like they call themselves progressive, but they don't celebrate like any actual progress. It's more. I would think it would be more like effective rhetorically if you could like make any concessions as to what the administration is doing.
I mean, isn't the country itself less Christian than 30 years ago? And what Christians are left spending most of their time like cheerleading for Israel? I mean,
right, so like this is Nick Fuentes' accelerationist perspective. Then we have the incremental Andrew Wilson, who, when I cover a debate between him and Owen Schroyer, 2 people in the audience thank him for converting them to Orthodoxy. Right?
Yeah.
This just happened here. A super chat was like, I'm thinking about Orthodoxy, right? That's what the focus of incrementalism, the point of that, is you still have something if you lose the accelerationism or if you lose in the arena of things outside of your control. The point of incrementalism is you get to keep some things along the way. Accelerationism is just throw it all out the fucking window and pray.
Yeah. Yeah. And hope as well that if everything burns down, the people will rise up. No, it'll just be another
French Revolution shit. What happens when you get power?
It'll just be another elite group, right? That fucking revivifies and makes and sets the new conditions.
Oh, absolutely not. Would you argue that?
I think young people are absolutely more Christian receptive. And when you look at church attendance, particularly in more traditional denominations like Catholicism and Orthodox, I know people will argue that they're not growing as fast, but they are growing quite a bit, especially among young men. Yeah, when I was a teenager, I'm in my 30s. It was rock against Bush, right? Swastika on his head. By the way, leftists done that with every single person, and it was a non-starter. There was no Christendom. If you showed up in a film, you were the serial killer. This idea was just women's choice, my body, and you had to sidestep it and say, well, if there was no thought that Roe v. Wade would actually be overturned. It was a pie in the sky dream. So yeah, I would argue that certainly with younger people, they are significantly more Christian than even those who it used to be a libertarian thing. Like it used to be a Tucker Carlson lookalike convention at CPAC stuff. This is pre-fly fishing Tucker, bow tie Tucker era. So yeah, I think with young people, they're definitely more, if not Christian, but Christian receptive and traditional.
To me, I guess overall, I'm just not as impressed with the progress that we've made over the past couple of decades. Maybe that's the difference, is you sort of look at it as glass half full, like, well, at least we got Roe, and at least we're trying to do these things, and hey, it's incremental and it takes time. And me, I feel like we're staring down the barrel of a gun where it's like, we're about to become a minority as white people. The immigration thing, it's already kind of been done to us. We need something radical and urgent, because otherwise it's going to be a slow descent, and that's not a victory.
But what'll it fix? So let's assume, and I can't, but let's assume you have the concretes, the roster. That was my first question. It'll still be my roster, funds, ground game. Okay, you get that guy in. You're still going to run into 100% of the Democrat Party opposing it, and you're still always going to have some Republicans who are useless. So let's assume you do that. How does that get you radical change within 2 years like you demand? Or you basically, sabotage them?
See, but this is a straw man. It's not about 2 years. This is Trump's second term. Republicans have been in control since 2022 of the House and the Senate. So it's like, it's not like we said, oh, you got 2 years. I gave them 2 years in 2016 and they did nothing. And then we said, okay, 2018, then 2020.
Say nothing again. Can you say he didn't do as much as you would like, but not nothing?
It goes right back to he did nothing. They did nothing over and over again. Why would they ever want to capitulate to you if you don't grant them anything? If this strategy were to work, he would just take 30 seconds to summarize some of the things that obviously and clearly worked and have been good for the country. And he would say, but I think as a country, while we're in a position of power, we're going to need a lot more. And I don't think that this administration is going to do it. I appreciate what they've done. And I understand that the left has been going at them hard and making it nearly impossible. So it's really incredible, like what they've done. But I mean, you see what I'm saying? If you really like, we're fighting for a fucking vote, he's just denying anything the administration's done.
Right. But on the other hand, like, remember Project 2025 and like all the leftist screeching that was associated with that? How much of that actually like happened? So I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like the whole Israel thing really derailed Trump massively. Or, he was always like that. Because a politician only has so much political capital, only has so much oxygen, only has so much attention. And, he's like, well, we have to go to war with Iran. Very unpopular decision.
They didn't build a wall. They didn't repeal Obamacare. Then they cut the corporate tax rate by 10%. So it's like, meaningfully, what did they really do? They didn't, legal immigration was really bad. So it's like, again, it's not 2 years. It's been a long time coming. And
well,
so
back then the vote was on the economy, and it was the rip-roaringest economy that we had seen in our lifetime.
These are excuses. These are narratives.
No, I'm saying when people vote on immigration, when people vote on the economy, and they run on those platforms, they're held accountable to those platforms. You said you don't care about the platform of immigration,
This is why people view him as slimy when he's debating, because he'll say Trump did nothing and then respond with those are just narratives, even though he's just narrativizing. He's not being very specific. He's downplaying things. And so this is when people start to become frustrated with Fuentes as a debater. This I've noticed over the course of the years.
Yeah, right.
the big issue this time. The first election, it was entirely about the economy. So if you want to say, okay, record low inflation where we actually saw employment come back, onshoring jobs, if that's nothing, you can say it, but be honest with people and say that doesn't mean anything to you, just like immigration doesn't mean anything to you now. Just be honest.
See, that's just dishonest to say. Obviously, I care about immigration, but 2016 was about build the wall. They didn't. They fed us this line and said, well, we need to fix the economy first so we could win the midterms. Okay, well, then you lost the midterms, and then we never got a border wall. It's like, so, you know, this is what I'm talking about. It just never gets done. It never happens. If we win.
I say BLM because it seems like Fuentes would antagonize politically no matter what.
Yeah.
He doesn't still get an actual position that he has. It feels like no matter what the situation, he would be antagonizing.
Look at that freeze frame.
As Piers Morgan says, it's animating him. He's getting exercised about it.
Oh, yes.
Well, we don't have enough power. If we lose, well, we weren't in power. It's like, okay, so when do we get the border wall? When do we get the deportations? When do we not go to war with Iran?
Can we agree building the border wall is a pretty involved process? The terrain that we have, what it has to go through. You don't just build the wall, okay?
Yeah, but then again, on the other hand, like, wasn't Trump saying he was going to build the wall in, was it 2016? It has been a long goddamn time. But then you had Biden in the middle, and they were like actively breaking it down.
Right.
So
we just ignore that. But this is why this is when politics are just becoming a game, when we're leaving these things out. This is when I don't feel like we actually care about people, when we're ignoring obvious facts. And it's oversimplifying everything.
Mm-hmm.
When do we not spend $2 trillion on the military? Like, that's the thing. So I want to try somebody that's actually going to do what they promised to do.
Who?
Someone will rise up. And you will see. And you'll.
There it is, dude. Okay. America First. It's only through Nick Fuentes, only through him. And then that's what we get. He's like, burn down the system. And I'm just going to roll the dice because it's so dire. And this is the BLM alarmism that's so dire. It's so dire right now. Racism is a national health emergency, okay? It's so dire right now. The problem's so dire that we have to do this. That kind of alarmism, and people fall for that. That's taking advantage of people that want things to be okay. That's what I find unethical about it.
Does he actually have knowledge of this great based savior who is going to step forward? Or I mean, he's certainly putting it on.
He alluded that he kind of knows someone in the background, and yeah.
Well, it's going to be Tucker.
Why?
Carlson.
What are you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, Tucker Carlson. That'd be pretty hilarious.
No way. Imagine that. Just like, the WWF, like you thought they were feuding, and then all of a sudden they turn on the same guy. Like, ha! We were in cahoots the entire time. It was all a show.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that.
We'll be very happy.
That's the pitch. It didn't happen in the other ones, but it'll happen this time. It didn't happen in 2020. It didn't happen in 22. Didn't happen in 2024, but it'll happen
22 is an off year. It happened in 2016.
I'm talking about the primaries, but yeah, because you've advocated this or sitting out, and that's a problem. And here's the thing. I want, right? I'm sure you remember the Tea Party. I want a more conservative Republican Party. But I also look and go, okay, Rubio, for example, so you mentioned the Christian thing, standing up, creating a video singularly about returning to Christian roots for Day of Prayer, setting one nation under, and you say it doesn't mean anything.
Speech.
Well, just like you just cited speech instead of policy as it relates to immigration. Like they're saying this. Yeah, but the H-1B numbers don't reflect that. So in this case,
they're not doing the raids. They're not.
So in one case you go speech, I go policies. You go, yeah, but speech.
No.
And then I go numbers.
This feels like a father trying to feed a baby, and the baby's spitting everything out and saying he wants something else, and he's never satisfied. And you see how circular this is right now. And now, because this is deep into the debate. This is over an hour into the debate. Now Crowder is noticing the circle he's going in.
Okay.
And you go, yeah, but rhetoric. And then in the other case, you go, executive order. I go, yeah, but then he couldn't. You go, well, then, yeah, but Republicans aren't getting this through Congress. It seems like you can just
Rubio's
focus on
great
failure.
because he gave a speech. It's like, who cares that he gave a speech? Rubio's a neocon. He's backed by Miriam Adelson.
Because the discussion was about, you were saying culturally Christian. The party is not, as far as the rhetoric, as Christian as it used to be. And I'm saying this is a change. Rubio saying that. Is that significant? Because you wouldn't get a Democrat saying that.
Okay. No? Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, we're being promised golden age, mass deportations. And you're like, well, Rubio gave a speech about being Christian.
No, it's not. That's not. You're being you just said I was being dishonest and saying you said you don't care about immigration. I believe your exact quote is, I don't give a fuck about immigration. The only thing keeping me alive is my war against Israel at this point. Do I have that close to correct? So don't tell me I'm being dishonest.
Hyperbolic.
Okay.
That's rhetoric.
Now that's hyperbolic rhetoric. Okay?
Yep.
Get ready.
We addressed that. We addressed that already. And I said, like, look, immigration is something that they're always baiting us with and they never do anything about. And then when they do the bare minimum, they say, well, it's better than nothing. And you go, well, I mean, theoretically, yeah, but if it doesn't meaningfully change anything, then it's not worth sacrificing other issues. Sure. So by and large, I would just say, look, 10 years into the Trump movement, we don't have the country that we want. They've had more than enough time. I think it's time to just do something radical and send a message, which is, you know,
Would you say that's hyperbolic rhetoric as well? Do something radical and send a message? Like what? Like that's exactly what BLM was saying fucking during 2020, dude. Okay.
I
We need to be
mean,
radical and send a message. Okay. And then it just keeps people in a stunted state of being 17 years old. An angsty teenager.
The question is, right, how many voters could he actually mobilize? I guess that's an unknown quantity, right? Like, you know, he does have the ability to put forth and modify narratives, which is
That
sort of
Stalinsky rule 1 is power is what the enemy thinks you have. Okay.
That's
we
true.
don't know. We can't confirm.
That's true.
not happy. I'm not happy with it. You may be happy and say, well, you know, what about this? What about that? We're in a war with Iran. The deportations aren't there. What more is there to say? That's where I'm coming at it from.
We are in a conflict with Iran. And by the way, I think last time you were on the show, you said like we might be more aligned in the initial strikes in Iran than I would think. Deportations are there. And again, well, I'll make the numbers available because even the one you said with the New York Times, they're not as much as I would like to be, but it's different from 10 to 20 million illegals. I still would ask you the same question, right? That's the point. And I get it. You don't have an answer. For me to vote Democrat, let me try it another way, okay? Because I want to make sure that we're aligned.
Crowder's trying to understand this right now. He's like, okay, this is not adding up at all whatsoever. This is what a lot of people feel. So this is a really good interlocutor for Nick Fuentes. He's not trying to do gotcha stuff. This is an actual back and forth conversation against. Clearly, we get the kind of guy that Fuentes is, the kind of guy that Crowder is. Okay, more of these conversations are very necessary. I feel like this is much more. Even though they're disagreeing, Crowder wants the coalition build. He could easily be writing off Fuentes right now with some of the things that he's saying.
Yeah,
but this is I feel like with Crowder, this is what coalition building more so sounds like.
Yeah.
On what we want. All right. Let's say I'm a candidate, and I don't want to say your district because I don't want another angry old Jew lady to show up. But in general, Illinois-ish. I'm running. I go, okay. I understand. I hear it. Young Americans don't have this as well as they should. Okay, look. All right. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I am going to vote for, and I'm going to support, of course, pausing all illegal immigration. We're going to close the border down. We're going to start building the wall. Okay, we're going to do this. Okay, we're blocked by Democrats, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to reduce H-1Bs by 87%. These things are suppressing your wages. All right, we're going to do everything we can to bring down the cost of rent. We're going to do everything we can to try and make housing more affordable. Here's what we're going to do as far as jobs. Okay, jobs. We're going to punish companies that are offshoring. We're going to use tariffs. We're going to incentivize companies that are onshoring. We're going to.
You can't, right? Again. Neither of these guys seem to know anything about economics. As long as there is constant inflation, which is a result of constant money creation, wages have to keep going up. The entire financial system of the West is based upon the presupposition that deflation is a thing to be studiously avoided. You never want prices to go down for anything because it would destroy the financialization of everything. So there is no world in which wages
this is why I say like with libertarians, once we have our nice polite white society, they're going to be very useful. But right now, economically, the way that things work is so bastardized. There isn't, it doesn't work in this theoretical way that they explain.
And the other thing as well is to reform the economic system that the West runs upon would engender a dislocation so fucking huge that no government that was in power for 4 or 8 years would ever attempt it, because they would then be blamed, right? You would need I don't know, a monarch that was in power for 40 years and some kind of disastrous war to even attempt to do such a thing. And what is the argument anyway, right? You can be oh well, abolish the Fed, but without I would argue without a religious precept against usury as a concept, you're never going to get anywhere, because they'll be well, what's wrong with constant monetary inflation? It fucks over everyone eventually.
Well, yeah, I mean, didn't this essentially civilize kings, where it's that king, why would that king give up his power? But then once once that power was deferred to God, then the king was viewed at differently. So why would usury go away? Why would you give yourself less power? Is the point that I'm trying to make, right?
Yeah.
Outside of that.
And it would just the West, generally speaking, is now so incredibly financialized that it would just destroy everything. So that's why there's always sort of this management. I mean, this was since the Fed came in, right? This idea that the economy has to be constantly managed by like altering interest rates. Before the Fed, interest rates were set by the individual banks. This idea of like centrally setting interest rates was anathema, but they can't give it up now.
Modify these taxes into law. We're going to try and do this to remove the effects that are suppressing your wages as a young American so you don't see what the Democrats would have, which is a 20+% unemployment rate. We're going to get rid of DEI. We're going to get rid of, just for you guys, we're going to get rid of racially based admissions. We're going to have a Supreme Court that rules on these and overturns them. More money back in your pocket. Try and make sure that we can employ American workers. America first. But that's enough because I will do that. And how do I be the guy to get your vote, Nick?
Mass deportations, build the wall, keep us out of war with Iran. Period. That's all you had to do. That's all they had to do to keep me happy, and that's all the next president has to do to make me happy.
Okay.
It's not happening.
So how do I, so it comes down to those, we understand that requires, right, going through Congress. So what you really mean is use the nuclear option to get the wall passed.
You don't even, Stephen, you don't even need it because they passed the big, beautiful bill. They have the money. They got $190 billion.
He's thinking like a Democrat.
Yeah.
We'll just throw money at the wall. We have the money.
Yeah.
Nikki, baby. Okay? You don't think there's gonna be fucking like protesters there and shit if they really wanted to? And the amount of like obstruction that can happen from the fucking left? Just go and do it. We got the money. It's that easy.
Yeah. Well, what about the manpower?
Exactly.
Materials, all this kind of like other stuff, right? Like, what about all the logistics? I mean, I'm not
saying but with the left, they have these parallel NGOs where they're ready to go as soon as they get power. The right doesn't have that. The right has to start. The right's always slower. But that's by design, right? But I understand that. So I'm not mad about it. That's just reality. That's the way that it is. That's the way that it's been for a long time. A lot of people start to get very doomery and very accelerationist because they feel like
we nearly at the end. We got to do super chats, and I got the final segment.
Okay, I'll step off my soapbox. Sure. And a big impassioned speech just then. What was I saying? Anyway, a lot of people think that's accelerationist because they're just finding out about something like for the first time right now. But then you realize that these things have been happening for a while. So it's like, calm down. Okay. I understand this like sense of accelerationism and immediacy. Okay. But a lot of these things have been happening for a long time. We can't just pick up and go like how our enemies can. And that's why a lot of people, when it comes to pragmatism, like, well, how do we implement this? Like, well, we'll just do what the left does. We don't have the, like what you said, we don't have the same access to manpower. There, I got it out and I feel a lot better now.
That was a good point. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Go ahead.
CSI for $5. Thank you very much. Do you have an interpreter to explain his plan to you? Didn't think so. Also, I have overtime, so you must restart the stream.
Those are the rules. We did make up those rules and promise to abide by those rules, so there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do.
Lest we be bad monarchs.
Psycho Carreg for $5. With what Nick says he wants, how can you ever contemplate voting Democrat? He complains about no golden age, but Dems will only bring a dark age. Dumb. Yeah, precisely.
Right.
Leningrad for $10.
Well, hello there, mate.
Nick's strongest point is the fact that the Republicans can never deliver as much as the Democrats, but notice how he can never take that in a constructive direction. Yeah.
Well, this is the issue, is where the energy leads to, you know? It doesn't lead to a very positive, good, or useful place, oftentimes, I notice.
Cyberchud, good to see you, man.
Well, thank you,
for
bro.
$5. The annoying thing about Nick is that he's both among the few creating a real vanguard, and he's incredibly destructive to the rest of the white movement. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the issue I have now with Groypers, where it's like, how are you advocating for white people when the pro-white organizations don't support you? It feels like the Democrats pandering to black people to get their vote, but then it feels like America First pandering to white people to get their view. It's like, are you representing these people that you're claiming to represent?
And Ancient Hybrid for $5. Thank you very much, mate. Nick is a little kid crying for dessert before finishing his vegetables. Stephen is the gay dad doing his best to feed a fussy Fuente.
You're going to tell me that shirt isn't gay? You're going to tell me that Fuentes isn't acting kind of like a child? That was spot on.
Oh, he's a fussy Fuente. Fucking hilarious. Right, have you got more, or should we go on to the next?
If you feel comfortable going into your stuff, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get on with it. Then let me see. Okay. So the Hunter virus stalks the world. Woo! It's been everywhere. This thing. Basically, I'll just give you like a little summary. There was like a cruise ship. It docked in Argentina, or like the southern tip of Argentina. Bunch of people like died, and then a bunch of people got sick, and they have now airlifted a whole bunch of like people off into all these different countries, and nothing bad is going to go wrong. Now, usually this wouldn't be a problem, right? Hantavirus, generally speaking, is only transmissible from rodents to humans, but this is the Andes strain that is apparently transmissible between humans. It's only supposed to be very, very low transmission rate, but there are, I'm not going to put this delicately, suggestions that it may have been dicked with. Anyone who was sort of paying attention during COVID realized that, again, how do I put this delicately? There were certain groups dicking with biological agents that may have done a whoopsie, or even a deliberate whoopsie, in order to get all of this shit kicked off. And that's a big problem if that is like the case. Wait, what's going on here?
What's going on here?
What's going on here? We've also already got like weird sort of conspiracy stuff going around. This isn't true. There's this guy. He was the dude talking about like the ship. Here it is. Right. He's like, oh my God. I'm on the ship, bros.
I normally wouldn't make a video like this, but I feel like I need to say something, so I wrote a few things down.
Why is it so easy to just coerce gays into doing these things? That is a gay man, right?
A gay mooish man, actually. As a matter of fact.
Our favorite.
My favorite.
And what's happening right now is very real for all of us here. We're not just a story. We're not just headlines. We're people. People with families, with lives, with people waiting for us at home. There's a lot of uncertainty, and that's the hardest part. All we want right now is to feel safe, to have clarity, and to get home. So if you're seeing coverage about this, just remember that there are real people behind it, and that this isn't something happening somewhere far away. It's happening to us right now. I'll share more when I can, but for now, I just ask for your kindness and understanding. Thank you.
But people who believe in disinformation are a bit skeptical about this, because this guy who is gay has a husband that seems to be connected to Big Moo, deals with Blackstone, and his sister works at a consulting firm that does global health and disaster recovery. So, this is, everyone's like, is this the COVID boys back together? Because, well, nothing happened to them last time. Remember, Fauci's just been let off, basically, right? They bungled the indictment, apparently. Yeah. Nothing's gonna happen to him, because that's how this goes. And there has been a huge amount of media coverage of this over like the last few days. You've probably like seen it. This is Dr. Pierre Corey, who was like really big during the COVID thing. Check it out.
What actually kind of intrigued me more, Talia, about what you said is a colleague told me that there was like 100,000 articles written around the world on hantavirus in the last couple of days. And that's not typical for a hantavirus outbreak. Certainly there's always attention and people get scared, but like, that's the other thing with COVID. It was COVID 24/7. And then when you said in your intro about how it seems to be driven by influencers, I'm sorry if I'm getting too like I don't know. I actually never want to use the word tin hat because I'm not a tin hat, but these patterns are anomalous. Why, with just this little outbreak of a few cases, suddenly like it's consuming the world's media cycle? Like, for instance, I'm on talking about it today. It's because it's being driven by something.
Yes, indeed. It is being driven by something. You're seeing articles like this from NBC. How easily does the Andes Hunter virus spread? What to know after the cruise ship outbreak? It's been assumed that the virus is contagious only if someone is in close contact with someone who's having symptoms. Yeah, because that's how the virus works, okay? It comes from a rodent reservoir in Argentina. You get it from inhaling vaporized poop or urine particles or getting scratched. You've got to be in close contact with an infected rodent or its droppings in order to get it. And now it seems like it's being primed as though this particular strain has human-to-human transmission. Now, this would be very unusual, let's say, okay? This would make people suspicious, let's say, that there had been some kind of experimentation involved with this. And indeed, hantavirus is one of the possible viruses for disease X. If you know anything about the World Economic Forum and all of their like weird, is the coming polycrisis? And you know, the next thing, the WHO, disease X is their like placeholder thing for the next huge pandemic, which of course they are very, very keen to have happen because suddenly it elevates them into a position of prominence. You got to remember that all these people that were like big cheese during COVID, right? Everyone's like calling them and like, you know, they're going on television and everyone like suddenly cares about what they have to say.
Yeah.
As soon as COVID like died, they're like, oh my God, no one cares. But what's even worse is that people, probably some people watching this, mocked them, didn't believe in the science. They probably didn't even get the vaccine. And they weren't scared enough of the droplets. The droplets, they're going to get all over your grandmother. That was like the best thing, in my opinion, that Tim Pool ever did. He was on a episode of Freedom Tunes playing like Dr. Fauci. That was like incredible. So all of this mainstream media shit is coming out. Now, you might say, well, you know, I mean, this is the thing, right? There are like weird outbreaks of like stuff all the time, okay? Again, mostly in brown countries, right? But still, right? Hantavirus is not a rare thing per se. I mean, it's rare, but it's constant. About like, I don't know, 1,000 people get it in America like every year. It's a constant thing. And you can't get rid of it because it has a constantly circulating rodent reservoir. But now they're saying stuff like this, right? At least 11 passengers from the HV Hondius, cruise ship are reported to have the Andes strain of hantavirus. Of the 18 Americans who were on board and are now in quarantine facilities in the US, at least 3 are being closely watched for possible infection. There's a lot of hysteria and weird misinformation circling out. I hate using the term misinformation, but there is like straight up. I've already seen someone posted this thing. It was like from COVID. They had like a COVID testing center, and someone had just used AI to like replace the COVID sign with like hantavirus, and they're trying to say like, oh, look, they've already got like testing centers in Switzerland. No, they don't. This is very, very early in the piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
The latest confirmed cases were all among people who had direct contact with other patients who were on the ship. Although concerns about how easily or not the Andes strain spreads are growing. Andes is the only type of hantavirus that can pass from person to person. So the framing of this is weird. Okay.
It feels very regular and normal to me. Am I just used to it now?
I guess. It has been assumed that the virus is contagious only if someone is in close contact with someone who is having symptoms. Indeed, right? Like, so Andes is human-to-human transmissible, but you've got to be like, you know, like right on top of someone. I presume you got to, I don't know, get their poop or sputum or something, right? It's not like, you know, cold or flu or like COVID where you can just get it from like breathing the air. Some experts now suggest it's possible it may be more contagious than thought. Are these experts like in line to get money if it turns out that it is? Because, you know, we've all seen how that fucking like works out, right?
Name my favorite kind, a nameless, faceless expert that I have to appeal to.
We're hearing now, including from doctors who were on the ship, is that at least a few people contracted it without that long, prolonged exposure that we have always assumed. Now, look, we don't know this, okay, right? Like, we don't know the condition of this cruise ship. There could have been like rat poop all through the thing. I've got like no idea. I suppose it's possible that someone got it and then there was a rat population on board. It transferred to the rat. I don't know. What I'm talking about is that they seem to be setting this up. And this is very, very disturbing because a lot of the same people, the COVID people, seem to be behind this. WHO, right? There is no evidence to suggest the Andy strain has changed to make it more infectious. Right, but they are heavily implying this, if you get what I'm saying, right?
Well, yeah, but technically they're not saying it. Remember how that goes?
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't spread easily. When it does, it typically involves household members that are doing things like sharing beds or sharing eating utensils or having contact with bodily fluids. Okay, so this is basically how it's going, okay? It's also possible the virus can spread between people if they're physically close to one another for an extended period of time. The CDC tends to define that as being within 6 feet of another person for longer than 15 minutes. That is not right. Like when
Yeah, wasn't that just like found out a few months ago that was just arbitrarily made up by somebody?
Yes, you know, it was longer than that. It was longer than that, right?
Yeah.
Being physically close to one another for extended period of time is not being within 6 foot of someone for longer than 15 minutes. And this framing makes my sussy gland throb.
Hey, what a gland it is.
What a gland it is. Right, so this is fucking what's going on with the Hondius.
When will we know if hantavirus has spread further than the MV Hondius? Scientists have pinpointed May the 19th as a day of reckoning for the spread of the virus.
Now, see as well, right? They're already making like dates. Oh, this is the date.
Oh, yep.
When we're going to know. This is also suspicious.
Before then, it's hard to say how far it has travelled. Currently, only passengers who travelled on the ship have become infected. But some passengers left the ship before quarantine was imposed and have since tested positive for hantavirus, meaning that they could have passed it on to others before realising that they were contagious.
And how did they do this testing? I bet you any money these are asymptomatic PCR tests, right? If you remember anything from COVID, PCR tests are highly unreliable, especially when you're treating people who don't have symptoms, because they might have a very, very low viral load in their blood. Depending on the number of amplification cycles, you can basically make it detect almost anything, right? There was a paper, the Corman-Drosten affair, that basically revealed that the tests that they were using to test for COVID were all complete bullshit and gave tons and tons and tons of false positives. And if they start rolling it out to like lots and lots of people, the number of false positives pile up, and then they give them the numbers that they need to say, oh my God, there's a pandemic, give us more money, give us more power, give us more control.
The situation could change. And given the long incubation period of the virus, it's possible we might see more cases in the coming weeks.
Pause it. I really love the music choice behind that guy speaking. I feel like I'm on a little safari in the Jeep. That was very Under the Sea, Little Mermaid music.
Under the sea, we all have Hunter into our Fanta under the sea.
Small window, fellas. Let's go. Nice.
And look, the long incubation period, I have heard differing reports on this, right? Maybe it's 2 weeks. Oh, it might be up to like 40 days. This is also a bad sign, okay? Because if they start doing this thing like,
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Ancient Hybrid in chat said, under disease! Under disease!
Under disease. That's awesome. Right? Wait, where was I? Yeah, right. So this long incubation period would give them the excuse to be like, oh, well, we've got to test all the people, even if they're healthy, because they might be asymptomatic. Again, COVID.
Cases started developing symptoms roughly 22 days after the first patient became ill. So, if the pattern holds true, and new infections have been spread by those secondary cases, they should start showing up from early next week. 30 passengers from at least 12 different countries left the ship early, either at St. Helena or Tristan da Cunha in the South Atlantic Ocean, and several have tested positive for the virus or are showing symptoms. They include the widow of the first man to die from the outbreak, who later died herself in South Africa. A passenger who left early and travelled to Switzerland is also infected, and there are suspected cases in Spain and Tristan da Cunha.
Wow, how convenient. They're all across the world. Wow, that's amazing.
Two Britons are also
I love how they artificially stack the numbers by grouping people in terms of people who have tested positive and showing symptoms. Now this makes it seem like even more people.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
showing
Exactly.
symptoms. So even if you don't have it, well, it's even people that look like they have it. That's a part of the grouping that we have.
And they brought a bunch of people back to the UK, because why not?
Isolating in the UK. If May the 19th and the subsequent days pass without new infections, then the next date to look out for will be June 21st.
Ah, so we got 2 dates, right? Like if nothing happens on May the 19th, it's still not over, bros. We still need like more money and more fear. June the 21st.
The UK really is the world's like fat ugly woman to run a train on now, huh? Just fucking put them in the UK. She'll do it.
No, they put them everywhere. There's like some in America, like, you know, don't worry, you guys are not spared.
By then, the incubation period will have run its course and nobody else could be infected from the first outbreak. The world will have to hold its breath until then.
Oh, look at that tagline. Telegraph. Very nice copywriting. Someone that probably makes $150,000 a year for that line. Have to hold your breath.
So this guy, Martin Gigi, is like a proper scientist, okay? Biophysicist, molecular epidemiologist. He is like one of the people who actually worked on Hunter virus. And he is basically of the opinion that all the same COVID people are basically like doing like another scare campaign, okay? Now, his general opinion is that there is no like way that it can be eradicated because it has a animal reservoir. And although there is human-to-human transfer, it remains rare. It requires continuous contact with symptomatic people for a while, like in a family or in a confined room, not just, you know, walking past someone who doesn't have symptoms, okay? He also points out you can't use PCR, and vaccines are not going to work, right? Although, I don't know, apparently it is quite a stable virus. So if you used a vaccine, like an old school vaccine, you wouldn't get constant mutations like you have with like COVID. But I've gone a bit off vaccines since like everything that happened, you know.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Kind of close-minded of you.
Yeah, I know. Apparently there are already like institutes who are like, you know, ramping up like tests and stuff, and possibly this extended deadline that they're doing. Like, oh, it's May the 19th. Oh, it's June the 21st. Oh, it's September the 5th, right? Will allow these institutes and these companies to say to governments, oh, well, we better start manufacturing tests. We better start manufacturing vaccines. They're already like working on them, right? Of course, Tedros is back. Oh, this fucking guy. Just in case you're not aware, right? Tedros, wait, what's his name? Ghebreyesus was originally in the government in, is it Ethiopia, where he worked for literally the Marxist government of Ethiopia. And he got his start in epidemiology by covering up cases of, what was it? Some disease. Typhoid.
Well, we all got to
right?
start somewhere, right?
You know, calling it like watery diarrhea. Okay, and he's still on it. He's not a proper doctor, but he's the head of the World Health Organization.
Well, he looks like watery diarrhea, so take that.
But oh no, bros, the pandemic treaty is on the verge of failure. Right? You guys all know about the pandemic treaty, right? So the pandemic treaty is a thing that WHO has been trying to get through, like literally since the end of COVID. Okay, and the idea behind it is something happens, the WHO can declares a public health emergency of international concern. There has been some talk that they could, declare stuff like racism and climate change, public health emergencies of international concern. And then as soon as they do that declaration, they suddenly accrue all of this power to compel every single government around the globe to do their stuff, right? People, of course, were not too happy about this, and they've since had problems getting this through. Fortunately, we have like a nice little pandy, a nice little sort of, disease outbreak happen at just the right time. What are the odds, bros?
The World Health Organization and their pandemic treaty that they're trying to put into effect, that is stalling. The talks are failing. In fact, 5 days ago, the member states couldn't agree on the pandemic sharing annex of the agreement. And so the talks collapsed. There won't be a pandemic treaty for maybe another year. And that made the World Health Organization Director General warn, basically threaten, it seems, saying the next pandemic's not a matter of if, but when. And he said that 5 days ago. And then all of a sudden we have this entire situation, almost like they want to scare people into putting in that pandemic agreement. They want to try and get the U.S. to join back into the World Health Organization. In fact, the Director General just said, now he hopes the U.S. will reconsider. So they're issuing all these threats. So this hantavirus situation, it's expected to die off. It's supposed to die off. By everything we know about the Ardy strain and the hantavirus and how it's not easily transmitted to other humans, it should die off. And this was just a way to, again, scare everybody into submission. But we'll have to wait and see. And remember, who's the biggest individual or nonprofit donor to the World Health Organization? Bill Gates.
Oh, yeah. Now, I tried to find this article, WHO delays pandemic treaty amid pathogen sharing dispute, from Reuters, right? It's been deleted. So the page still exists, but when you load it, it's blank. Now, I don't know.
A digital trace of it. It's
possible that it's because I'm using an ad blocker or something, but I found that very sussy. I don't usually have a problem getting like stuff from Reuters. Here's Tedros again in his cute little beret, right, with his like Marxist fucking bullshit, talking about how all of the world has to come together to fight this thing, right? By come together, obviously he means do whatever the WHO says. Trump pulled the United States out of the World Health Organization, something I very, very much supported. And since then, they've been struggling, bros, right? Because without America to inject like huge amounts of money, they've got to rely on people like, Bill Gates. And Billy Gates, of course, he just does it, out of the kindness of his heart. He's not the kind of person who would donate to like an NGO or an international governance organization in order to get it to pass certain laws that would then benefit things or companies that he has a stake in.
And don't you even dare imply that he ever would.
That's right. Look, he's a philanthropist, right? He's just a really kind, he's just a really nice guy.
And then the other issue is, I thank the Prime Minister because based on the request WHO made, he accepted. And the request I made was based on international health regulation. And countries are expected to cooperate based on that international health regulation. But not only the IHR, I think we should also be strong believers of solidarity. Solidarity, because that's our best immunity. It's only when we support each other that we can respond more effectively to virus or to outbreaks like this. And it's also a moral duty.
Yes, it's a moral duty. We need solidarity, blah, 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 blah. By the way, in case you weren't aware of this, the IHR that he is referring to is the International Health Regulations. And it was the International Health Regulations that was used for a lot of the COVID bullshit. And do you know where that came from, Ardy? Do you want to have a guess?
A guess as to where that came from? Probably some sort of Guatemalan organization.
It was from the anti-tobacco crap back in the 90s. The first international health regulation was on control of tobacco, and that's why we don't have cancer anymore. I am so skeptical of all this shit, right? Because I remember back in the 90s, like, oh, we're gonna outlaw smoking, and then like cancer will like stop. No, it fucking hasn't. It hasn't stopped cancer at all. Cancer rates just continue to climb. So why the fuck did they do it all? Well, control, because the international health regulations were a way that they could coerce all of these countries to do all the COVID crap. I hate it. So there is the question of whether the Hunter virus is a gain of function strain, right? This is the question that's on everybody's mind, right? Like, is it natural, or were they dicking with it, right? Did it like come out of some like lab? Now, supposedly they have released the sequences from it. I am not scientific-y enough to understand any of this, right? I'm just, like, just to be clear, right?
Wow, what do you know?
I am hearing two versions of this, okay? So some people are saying, look, it's just like the normal hantavirus strain. There's no gain of function. There's no weird viral voodoo.
Classic virus, just an absolute classic gem.
No furin site, no suspicious reassortment, no unusual nucleotide motif. But others are saying that the data that has been released cannot be trusted. And I, quite frankly, after everything I saw with COVID, I would not fucking trust the information.
You're too paranoid, man.
Yeah,
the government's there to take care of us.
Here is Brett Weinstein and Heather Haling talking about, we're back here again. We are back here again.
That's the first thing I've seen in all of this that does remind me of COVID.
We've seen some online discussion as well indicating that perhaps ivermectin is useful in this case, but we have not seen any research that shows that ivermectin is an effective treatment for hantavirus, and that's what we know at this point.
That language, that I think we have not seen any evidence. No, we have not seen any research suggesting that ivermectin can treat hantavirus.
That's exactly what they said about COVID, by the way, with ivermectin. The research we've seen, no. They controlled the research and they suppressed any research that ran counter to this suggestion.
She has a very similar intuition that you have, where you go, this sounds, something about this sounds and feels very familiar,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, what is likely to be true in science? You don't wait for the entire process to have happened and for it to have hit the journals. That is not how we do this. And like, I can't believe we're here again. Right. So, what you did, what Mary Talley Bowden did, what, presumably many of us, and me too, separately, like, we're like, oh, it's what kind of virus? And we have all of these remarkably, actually a lot, but ivermectin is the one we're talking about. We have these medicines. In this case, it's one that the WHO already put on its list of essential medicines. Why? Because it's got such broad efficacy across so many things. It doesn't just work on RNA viruses. It also works on helminths. It works on so many things. And the idea that what you need, even though we've previously put this as one of our top medicines to use, both because it tends to be safe and it tends to be effective against a broad range of things, you're not going to even talk about it until you've seen specific research about its efficacy on this particular problem. That's not how any of this is supposed to work.
That's not how any of this is supposed to work at the scientific level. For one thing, she is effectively implying that it doesn't work. There is circumstantial reason to think it might work. And at the very least, with a drug this safe, and it is as safe as any drug out there,
yes.
Was it given to the people on the ship? It would be an obvious thing to do. You've got people who were in an environment in which hantavirus is there, whatever the mechanism that they seem to have contacted it, it would be an obvious thing to do because it's so safe. Even if you thought it had a 1% chance of working, the downside is so low that it would make sense. And instead, the WHO is coming at this, we've got to shut that ivermectin thing down again. So that's among the many things that smell like bullshit here. This is
horse pace bros. We back. We back.
No.
We're gonna be back into the horse pace, boys.
If that happens, it's gonna be all Trump's fault. You know that, right?
Yeah. They'll be like, no. Don't take ivermectin. That stuff. The thing is, right? Heather is correct about this. One of the general features of ivermectin is it has an incredibly good safety profile. So it's not like some highly toxic antibiotic or antiviral where taking it is a serious risk, right? You can just take it for prophylaxis if you want, but then how are we gonna control the world and stuff, right? So final, I got about like 20 minutes. Okay, so on the UK, let's see, everything is still pretty terrible. Queer Starmer, the Llama Hama, to cheer queer, the Rent Boy's favorite prime minister, he's on the ropes, bros. There was a big local election all across the country. Labour got destroyed. Reform was in, and now all the lefties are having a bit of a crisis. They're like, oh my God, I thought we were like the right people, the moral people. What do you mean that people don't like us? We went around calling everybody racist and far right, and we thought they would mend their ways. Right. Yeah, you guys are fucked. So Starmer is not going to go. He has decided to double down with what? Well, change. Good change, bad change, just change. Change, which will be basically exactly the same shit that we've been doing. I shit you not, right? Like, it's like, like Starmer comes out and he's like, we know that people are frustrated, that the rate of change has not been as fast as they have wanted. No.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I want change. I want you to cut taxes, you massive bastard.
I know,
and
but
stop importing people.
I sound like Keir Starmer when it comes to Trump, where the people are unhappy with but things are actually changing with Trump. He's using that same argument when nothing seems to be changing at all whatsoever.
No. And the thing that really gets me is like good change, bad change. Like what? No, just change, right? Of course, his entire administration are fucking Fabians, right? So when they say
I still can't
change,
fucking believe that, dude.
No, I'm serious. I'm not even exaggerating. Like,
I know you're not, but the fact, like, this is how the left is allowed to operate fucking globally. That's what I'm saying.
Starmer went to a fucking work camp in Czechoslovakia, a communist work camp, right? On vacation. Right? Like, that's how much of a fucking commie retard.
Didn't leave his fucking balls there, too?
Oh my God, right? So yeah, he means like socialism, right? Like proper, Anyway, this is Bridget Phillipson being sort of interrogated on what this change is going to bring.
I'm asking you a specific question about what's going to change. And thus far, on Europe, on immigration, you're not telling me anything's going to change. On welfare, 2-child cap, any change there?
Well, there was definitely a big change, and I'm glad because we're going to lift 500,000 children out of poverty.
Yeah, but you're not going to resign on that. The point is, Prime Minister's been saying for the last 3 days, I hear you, I get it, we are going to change. I've now asked you about the three of the biggest issues facing the government, and what I'm getting is nothing's going to change.
Look, the wrong message to take from the elections that we've just had would be,
would be that people want us to change tax. I want to know whether when the Prime Minister says he's going to change, what is going to change? Nothing on the big policies is going to change.
Look, part of the frustration that people feel about the state of our country is a failure of government to have a system that works for them. That is what has to change.
Oh my God,
part of that is around immigration.
Is your entire political discussion strictly discussed in platitudes?
Oh yeah. That is
just platitudes. That's incredible. It's actually impressive.
Yeah, well,
frustrating but impressive.
You might get arrested otherwise, man.
Holy shit.
The tone policing, right, in this country is just literally fucking insane, right? The whole political class is just a bunch of like women. Oh, don't say anything mean,
Look,
so what does that mean?
Hang on.
Well, what does it mean? No, you're giving me a lot of words, but what does it mean?
I have always believed you have to have a system, a fair system, one that recognises the benefits, but has clear controls alongside it. That is the system that we are going to deliver. That is not the system that we have at the moment. That's part of the reason that people feel government isn't working for them. It's part of the answer.
I mean, personally, right, I'm just, I look, no one cares what I think, obviously, right? But I think taxes are too high. There's too many regulations, and you're just like letting tons and tons of people from all across the world come in here, right? And the whole country's like anti-white. I mean, you could just, change some of that. But no, right? Like not that kind of change. The kind of change they're talking about is you're going to rejoin the EU without having any input into it. So we'll become a vassal state of the EU. We're going to give billions and billions of dollars to the Ukraine war. They've re-enabled child benefit for more than 2 kids. So all of those like muzzies that have like 11 billion kids, they'll all get like more government funds. It's delightful. I'm so happy. Fuck, man.
It's not part of the problem.
You guys, I think have the most insufferable Karen foids in the world. What country do you think of that has like worse foids than you?
Germany's pretty bad.
Okay, there's a Miss Universe. Do we have to do a horrific Foyd tier list one of these days? I don't know if anybody would want to watch it, but I'm just curious as to how bad the Foyds can get, because this is killing me right now.
They are known as the pantsuit mafia.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Government work. You're just not telling me how you're going to make it work.
I just did. So on immigration, you're saying to me, are we going to change approach? This is a change, because
it's the same approach we had on Wednesday.
It is not. It changed from what has gone before in the years running up to this. Okay. Where we didn't have control over our borders, where people felt the impact of immigration was too strong, where those numbers changed very, very rapidly. Look, I've always been a supporter and I remain of our diverse country. And
I think there's been like 200,000 people arrive by small boat so far this year. It is insane. Like, we can't do anything about it. Right. I mean, yes.
Yeah. Nick Fuentes, do you want to talk about not having the fucking political will? Okay. Come on, dude. Come on. We had to fucking suffer through this like insanely biased media coverage that was like martyrizing these two people that leaped in front of fucking cars and jumped in front of bullets for fucking illegals, okay? The political will, dude. Okay, let's just look at this in comparison is all I'm saying.
And I remain of our diverse country and all of the benefits that come with immigration. But
diverse country, all the benefits that come with immigration. I'm really feeling those benefits, mate.
Can only deliver that if we maintain public confidence in that system. What we will not do, however, is move to the divisive approach that we see from the likes of Reform. We, as the Labour Party, are the only party that can bring our country together. We don't want to see that fragmentation. We don't want to see communities and regions.
Yeah, and the way you bring everyone together is calling like most of the electorate far-right racist.
That's why I like you. You get it. You understand real politique.
Oh my God, this is Starmer. He did this speech. It went down like a fucking lead balloon. It was basically him saying, I'm not going anywhere. Sorry. This is hilarious, right? So since Peter Mandelson got like fired, they had to appoint like a new ambassador to the Epstein class. That's literally what they needed, right? Gordon Brown, he used to be the UK Prime Minister. He famously sold all the UK's gold reserves at like the lowest price in like 10 years and announced that it was going to happen before they sold it, right? So everyone like brought gold down to like buy it up. And they needed a new ambassador to the Epstein class. So it's Gordon Brown. Oh my God, look at him. He just like, of course I'll go and talk to the Epstein class for you, Sonny.
Classic phenotype.
I'm very well known among those kind of parties.
That guy belongs in a coin.
Oh, look, they're talking in a corridor, right? That's strength right there. Look, he's walking through a door. He's shaking hands, mate. Look, if that doesn't say trust in government, I don't know what does, bro. And just to give you an idea of the kind of person Gordon Brown is, this is him like when the WEF was in the ascendancy.
I'm sorry. I thought that was a wake.
It really does look like a fucking bag of fucking door knockers, doesn't it?
Little pale there, don't you think?
Industrial revolution, an all-consuming industrial revolution right across the board, the speed of change 1,000 times faster than during the first industrial revolution, and affecting all services, all products, all countries, all industries, and all people. It's going to lead to job destruction, so we've got to think about the jobs of the future and how we create them. It's going to lead to massive technological change in the way we deliver services. It's going to force governments to change their minds about how they operate. And all this has been set out by Klaus Schwab in the speech he made in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, fuck off.
It's going to force governments to change their mind about how they operate. I love how they're allowed to say these things.
So this is Starmer achieving release with the rent boy hidden under his podium.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. Look at his fucking face.
Oh, Fabian socialism. Oh!
Yeah, have you ever done a splooging Keir Starmer impression?
Let me be clear. I will spooge all over our communities our precious, precious communities. Fucking hell.
I know that people are frustrated by the state of Britain, frustrated by politics, and some people frustrated with me. I know I have my doubters, and I know I need to prove them wrong, and I will.
Oh, this is the worst guy. Do you see how much of a husk that he is, where he's trying? I bet you he's like pinching his thigh to feel something so he can like squeeze out some sort of emotion as he's trying to say this.
No. He feels the warm light of Trotskyism, mate. He doesn't. He's literally like he's literally got like anti-charisma. It's like he just sucks all the charisma out of like Eddie. Like, I mean, he's just like an anti-politician. Oh, he came out.
He's actually perfect for the job, though.
He came out. He's like, not only am I not going to resign, but I want to be prime minister for the next 10 years. Everyone's like, no.
Yeah, I understand that I have my doubters. Like, no, we are rejecting you. Can you imagine if a woman says no and he's like, on one hand, he sounds like he's very passive, but on the other hand, he's unbelievably authoritarian. So it's like a passive rape is what he would do to a woman. Now, I understand that you're doubting me as he's like thrusting into her. She's like screaming no. And it's like, yes, I have heard this feedback before, but let me assure you, okay? No matter how horrible the act is, his voice never changes. It's like a serial killer.
Yeah, well, when she's crying out and saying no, he's like, I understand that you are frustrated by the pace of change. I will change even harder now.
Raping Starmer is a really good impression, okay? No matter, we had to put you in these horrific situations, and you hate this guy so much that you know exactly how he'd respond. No matter how terrible it is, there's a rhetoric from Keir Starmer about it.
After I have finished being inside you, I will go and be inside our precious communities. It took me a while to like figure out how to do an impression of him. And what I discovered is that you've just got to like basically freeze your entire lower face, like your jaw and like your lips, and just do this like monotone where you don't actually move your mouth at all. It is very, very weird. You do this impression for a while and like my jaw muscles start hurting because they don't move. Oh, it's so unnatural.
Sure, but true or false, once you start sounding like him, does that allow you to finally start thinking like him? When you start sounding like him, do the thoughts just start coming to you?
I got to go to a Czechoslovakian work camp, mate. Really get some
really
local
nail
color.
this impression. Yeah.
Let me start on a personal note. Like every prime minister, I've learned a lot in the first 2 years in the job. In terms of the policy challenges that our country faces, incremental change won't cut it. On growth, defense, Europe, energy, we need a bigger response than we anticipated in 2024. Because these are not ordinary times. I know that people are...
So while all this is going on, by the way, right, the whole Iran war thing continues to work its way towards the West like a blood clot, working its way up from your leg, approaching your heart, okay?
Yeah.
Strait of Hormuz is still fucking closed. By the way, FYI, Amira Bros, if you are like driving, stock up on motor oil. Apparently, the rumor is that there isn't going to be any more at Walmart once current stocks are out because the plant in somewhere, I think it's in Saudi Arabia, somewhere around that area, that produces all those highly advanced like lubricants got destroyed. So just, right? Like, don't go crazy, but probably a good idea to have a couple of bottles in your, in your garage.
You know what? You convinced me. Let's elect the Democrats. They'll get better then.
And this is a joke, but I thought this was really funny, so I thought I'm going to play this.
Silence! My beloved peasants of Britain, I am here to address you, my groveling, tax-paying servants, comrades of the new Labour Reich. I am still here. To anyone who dares disagree with me, you are far-right scum, you vermin, you cockroaches, crawling in the filth of patriotism. You will be eradicated, silenced, crushed beneath the jackboot of progress. Local elections. You insignificant little weaklings. You sniveling traitors hiding in the shadows, you pathetic, decaying remnants of the old free Britain. I am your dictator. I shall never leave. No matter how loudly you scream, no matter how many votes you cast, I shall remain eternal, immortal, unbreakable. I will continue to flood this wretched little island with foreign voters until the native breed is but a whisper. I will fatten on the benefits squeezed from your peasant blood and sweat. They shall kneel, loyal, only to the hand that feeds them. Diversity is my strength. Can't you see, you worthless rabble? I don't give a single fuck what you think. This is Labour first, Britain last. Country is not.
Do you hear a hint of Bane, the Batman villain, Bane in there? I hear a hint of Bane in there.
What I hear is Michael Palin from Monty Python. Right, it's clearly where he got the inspiration for this from. But it's really good, as people have said in the chat. Like, it's far too emotional, but I don't know, man. I really like this guy actually.
My personal play toy. You begged me to protect women and children after I buried the grooming gang files. Well, I gave you a minister who thinks men can be women with the stroke of a pen. Your daughter's safety is a small price for my ideology.
How does Keir Starmer laugh? Is that how he laughs?
I don't think I've ever heard him laugh.
Right?
No,
okay.
No. You know he doesn't dream, right? When
what do you mean? What do you mean? Do I know that? How do I know if another man dreams? What do you mean?
No. So when he first became, when he was running for PM, he did this sort of interview where, like, the journalist tried to get a read on his personality. He doesn't read books. He doesn't dream, right?
Fair.
Like, he is just basically a hollow shell for globalist Trotskyism, right? So
he is a husk.
Yeah. So we're gonna get Euro
Holy
communism.
shit,
we're gonna get digital ID. We're gonna get fucking Palantir. We're gonna get like all the fruits of communism. I can't wait, bros. Personally,
I do not have a dream.
I do not have a dream. Dreams are the kind of things that the far right has and are a danger to our communities.
You wanted fresh politics? New ideas for the new world? Behold, I dragged Gordon Brown from his crypt. Decades obsolete because I don't give a fuck. Your desire means nothing. My will is absolute. We will rejoin the EU. We will export our youth like cattle, slaves in foreign fields to pay taxes to Brussels overlords. We will protect and prioritise every foreign national over the worthless natives who built this island. I may not be able to stop the boat, but I will stop every political opponent, every dissenting voice, every patriot who dares to speak for Britain. They will be banned, blocked, and erased from your ears. From this moment moving forward, I decree Brits are banned from hearing Brits speak about the Britain they want. Only my voice will echo across this realm. I put the greater desire of my realm before the selfish complaints of the natives. I am the Iron Fist, the Dark Lord of Downing Street, the supreme leader who will drag you kicking and screaming into the glorious, borderless, gender-fluid European superstate. You will obey, you will submit, you will fund your own replacement, and you will thank me for it. Long live the dictatorship, long live Keir, Britain is mine.
Oh my god.
So yeah.
That's in there, bruh.
That's about where we're at in the UK, right? Okay, so let's see. We got a few super chats. King Spectre for $5. Another profile pic change. Droplets are no laughing matter. Being in the splash zone can be fatal. Pick unrelated. I'm gonna have to break out my Dr. Fauci impersonation more often now as this whole thing happens. Make sure you avoid the hantavirus, children, and don't pick up any loose rats. Torture Wife for $5. Sit right back and I'll tell a tale. Sit right back and I'll tell a tale of a fateful trip on a rat-infested island cruise that got everyone all sick.
Wow, dude. I would not have picked that up from that.
Used to watch Gilligan's Island as a kid. Lenny Grad for another $5. Thank you, mate.
Love.
Flashback to all the Coof Theatre following news stories of cases on boats and planes that preceded the early news of the lockdowns. I am still not over the last one. If they pull this fucking shit again, oh mate, I am gonna fucking kick off, mate. I'm telling you.
Oh,
Oof.
dude, imagine if you had this voice when that was going on.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be great for us. A lot of people, they got nothing else to do but sit there and listen to us, dude. I'd go double full time at that point. I got nothing else to fucking do.
That's a good point. That's basically all I did during lockdowns was just like stream. Yeah. So, silver lining, I guess. Dillweed for $20.
Well, hello, are you there, mate?
It took the Great Depression, World War II, and 4 consecutive presidential terms for them to make the greatest backroom deals and structural changes to America. Fixing that is going to take decades to reverse, even longer with non-consecutive presidents. Oh, I know, mate. Like,
right.
And that's even,
democracy.
yeah, and that's even if the Federal Reserve was not instituted and controlled by a shadowy cabal that basically runs the world now. You know what I mean? Allegedly. Leningrad for $5. Thank you, mate. This is the difference between scientists who understand and apply the general principle and regime apparatchiks. Yeah, well, you're not going to get published in any of the proper journals if you're not a regime apparatchik. Now, yeah.
Yeah, they really scout people like James Lindsay that really like the reputation, right? They don't want to lose their reputation.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know. I guess the money and the sex, they must have something to offer them above just the money, in my opinion, right? King Spectre again for $5. Look at that profile pic. The benefits of a diverse Britain. Cuddle tourism. Let me be clear. Everybody should cuddle the immigrant communities. Except for the Jewish community. Obviously, they are exempt. And Crystal.
Oh,
mate.
I know it's supposed to be a sneeze, but when I heard your impression of somebody underneath, it really, I could never see a picture of him sneezing ever again without thinking it's something else.
Did someone mention Ukrainian rent boys? Oh, mate. Yeah. Oh, God. Right. Super Chat's achieved. That's the end of the show. Thank you so much for coming on. Last words, Ardy?
Well, yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do, Fist. He returns. The Grand Master returns. You know what, fellas, do you know what that fucking means? Some of you do, and some of you don't. Clear your fucking calendar for June 7th. Look at this. This makes... He doesn't know it. He's creating an ad for me. He doesn't realize it. I would never think to do that. The Grand Master returns. Okay, so fellas, James Lindsay is going on Isaiah's show June 7th. Okay?
Isaiah
just so everyone knows.
Isaiah will finally get to see his best friend.
And where I'm going to be sending you right now, okay? Tom Foe and Atlas Thug are going to be, I believe, saying that Nick Fuentes' strategy is the winning strategy. And they're going to have a debate right now. So I'm going to send you over there. Fellas, represent, okay? It's going to be a great thing to watch after I have the exact opposite opinion of them. But how? Fellas, how? How could I be on good terms with people I disagree with so vehemently? Well, I guess I'm trying to coalition build, right? I guess I'm not trying to just write people off and have people dogmatically listen to me. So now I'm done, Fist.
All right. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Thank you to everyone who super chatted. We will be back on Friday night with another episode of Ardy and Fist. See you over on the other stream, peeps. Good night.
Good night, mate.